Chapter 39. What do I get for helping you? Fei Ren didn't beat around the bush with Feng Hui and went straight to the point. Brother Fei, don't worry. The Heavenly Water Town's hunting meet is held once every 3 years. The ranking is based on the results of hunting magical beasts. If you can squeeze into the top 10, you'll be rewarded handsomely. There's no lack of origin stones, pills, weapons, and armors. The top 3 will even be rewarded with spiritual treasures. If Brother Fei is willing to help me, I won't take any of the rewards. Feng Hui wasn't surprised when he saw Fei Ren asking for his conditions. After all, humans die for wealth and birds die for food. Although he had some friendship with Fei Ren, it was impossible for him to ask for Fei Ren's help for free. I can help you, but Heavenly Water Town is far away from Wuhan Town. We'll have to think about it at length. After thinking for a while, Fei Ren finally nodded. After all, Feng Hui said that the hunting meet would reward him handsomely. It was really hard for him to refuse. Thank you, Brother Fei. I'll leave for the clan tomorrow. On the way, I'll explain to Brother Fei the situation of the various factions in Heavenly Water Town in detail. Seeing that Fei Ren had agreed, Feng Hui secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He immediately cupped his fists and said, The next day, Blue Sky Peak. Dawn broke. Fei Ren had just gotten out of bed and left the house when he saw Feng Hui's figure appear outside the courtyard. It seemed that he had been waiting there for a long time. Let's go. After washing his face with cold water, Fei Ren appeared to be much more energetic. He then carried the wasp bayonet on his back, pushed open the door, and stepped out. Some of the clothes and miscellaneous items that he had brought with him on this trip were thrown into the low-level spirit ring. Although the low-level spirit ring only had a storage space of a few dozen square meters, Fei Ren had 2 low-level spirit rings, one from Snake 5 and one from Guahuai. It was more than enough to store some clothes and miscellaneous items. Along the way, Fei Ren learned from Feng Hui about the current division of power in Tianshui Town and its origins. Like Wuhan Town, Tianshui Town was one of the towns in Qingyang County. 100 years ago, when the Dachu dynasty was first established, Tianshui Town was just a small village. In order to strengthen the borders, the imperial court stationed a group of soldiers and horses here. After a long time, it became a small town. Celestial Water Town had 3 major powers. Among them, the Xie clan was the leader. They had been passed down for hundreds of years and had a solid foundation that was comparable to a second-rate power. There were no less than 5 Zhonghe experts in the clan. As for the other 2 major powers, they were slightly weaker. They were the Mad Blade sect and the Fong clan. If the Xie family is so powerful, why do they still want to participate in the hunting meet? Can't they just use force to snatch the resources? Riding a black-haired white horse, Fei Ren was puzzled. At the same time, he looked at Feng Hui, who was beside him. The journey to Tianshui Town was about a few hundred miles. It was a long journey, and traveling on foot consumed too much origin energy. Fei Ren was fine, but Feng Hui was only at the 4th level of the body refinement realm. His origin energy could not support such a long journey, so the 2 of them rode fast horses instead. The black-haired white horse under Fei Ren's feet was the offspring of a normal white horse, an immortal-level magic beast. Not only could it travel 100 miles in a day, but it also did not have a high demand for fodder. On the black market, each of these black-haired white horses was worth at least 100 taels of silver. Compared to the black-haired white horse under Fei Ren, the horse under Feng Hui's feet was a little shabby. It was just a normal white horse that could be bought at some horse markets for a few taels of silver. Brother Fei may not know, but although the Xie family is powerful, it is not the only family in Tianshui Town. Facing Fei Ren's question, Feng Hui shook his head and laughed. The Xie family has 5 middle unity experts, and the strongest among them is the family head of the Xie family, Xie Xian. Xie Xian's origin energy cultivation is at the 4th level of the middle unity realm, but the other 2 family heads are not weak either. The head of the Wild Blade sect, Li Kuangdao, and the head of the Feng family, Feng Sheng, are both at the 4th level of the middle unity realm. Their strength is at the same level as Xie Xian. So it seems that the Xie family's foundation is in the younger generation. After thinking for a while, Feiren opened his mouth again. That's right. Other than the head of the Wild Blade sect, Li Kuangdao, there's only one other Middle Unity expert. Our Fong family is about the same. Other than the head of the family, there are only two Middle Unity experts in the family. They are the head elder and the head of the disciplinary hall. In terms of foundation, the Wild Blade sect and the Fong family are not as good as the CF family. However, if the two join forces, they can contend against the CF family. In order to divide the resources without causing an all-out conflict, the three families use the hunting meat as a method to divide the resources without using force, and also to train the younger generation. Nodding his head, Fong Hui explained slowly. The hunting meat is not as simple as killing demonic beasts, right? After pondering for a moment, Fei Rin's eyes shone with a cold light. Since the hunting meat was a competition between the younger generation of the three families, there was bound to be a lot of bloodshed. After all, demonic beasts were not like human martial artists. Their intelligence was not high, and they were violent and bloodthirsty. Moreover, in the process of hunting demonic beasts, it was inevitable that they would be attacked by the disciples of the other families. That's right, in every hunting meet, the three families would lose some people. Most of them died in the conflict, and only a small number of people were killed because they could not defeat the demonic beasts. However, those who survived were all elite disciples. Deeply understanding, Fong Hui's face became serious. It was because the hunting meat was dangerous that he wanted to rope in Fei Run to help. Otherwise, with his strength, he would not be able to achieve good results in the hunting meat. Being able to keep his life was already good enough. Interesting. As he spoke, Fei Rin began to look forward to the Celestial Water Town's big hunting meet. His cultivation had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage, and he was only a step away from the 8th level of the body refinement stage. His strength was enough to crush any martial artist below the Middle Unity stage. Although the CF family in Sky Water Town was a second-rate force and had many powerful warriors under their command, Fei Rin was confident that he would not lose to anyone when it came to the battle strength of the younger generation. As for the Wild Blade sect and the Fong family, they were nothing in his eyes. A day later, Fei Rin and Fong Hui finally arrived at Tianshui Town. Looking from afar, Tianshui Town was a peaceful and prosperous scene. From time to time, caravans and horses would come and go. Similarly located at the foot of the Hengduan mountain range, Tianshui Town was more prosperous than Wuan Town due to its location on the main road. The overall strength of the martial artists was also stronger. Brother Fei, if you don't mind, you can stay at my house for a while. After entering the town, Fong Hui took Fei Run to the Fong family's residence. As one of the three major families in Tianshui Town, the Fong family's residence could be said to be huge. The area was at least a few hundred acres. There were various ancient buildings in the residence, and at the main entrance, there were two young guards standing guard. Fong family's main entrance. Stop! Who are you? Seeing that Fei Rin and Fong Hui were walking towards them, one of the young guards stepped forward and shouted out an order. I am Fong Hui. This is my friend. Taking out a jade pendant, Fong Hui's face was calm, as if he was already used to it. So, it's young Master Fong Hui. I apologize for my rudeness. Please come in. Seeing the jade pendant in Fong Hui's hand, the young guard's face froze. Then, he quickly retreated to the side with a respectful expression. Old song. This kid is just a young master born of a concubine. Why are you so respectful to him? Just after Fong Hui and Fei Rin left, another young guard whispered to his companion, seemingly disapproving of Fong Hui's actions. You and I are both guard of the Fong family. Even if he's a young master born of a concubine, his status is still above ours. It's best if we don't cause any trouble. Moreover, this kid Fong Hui has joined Wan Town's Iron Sect. His future achievements will definitely surpass ours. Glancing at the direction where Fong Hui and Fei Rin left, the young guard who stopped them earlier sighed and said emotionally, Old song. What you said makes sense. Let's just stand guard. Hearing this, the young guard also nodded his head, as if he deeply agreed with this. Chapter 40. There were quite a few buildings in the Fong estate, and Fong Hui's residence was in a small courtyard in the north of the central part of the estate. Next to the courtyard was a side room. Although it looked simple and crude, it was still quite natural and elegant. At this time, a few servants were cleaning the place. Those two guards didn't seem to take you seriously. Fei Rin's tone was playful as he entered the mansion. That's normal. I'm just a concubine's son, and I've been away from the family for a long time. If not for my status as the second son of the family head, I wouldn't even be able to live in this courtyard. Fong Hui sighed and pointed at the small courtyard in front of him. Young Master Fong Hui, you're back? Just as Fong Hui and Fei Rin stepped into the courtyard, a gray-clothed, white-haired old man hurriedly stepped forward and respectfully bowed his head. He seemed to be the leader of the servants in front of Fong Hui. Song Bo, you've worked hard. I've been away, cultivating, and you've been in charge of everything. Looking at the white-haired old man in front of him, Fong Hui nodded with a gratified expression. The white-haired old man was called Song Ta, and he was one of the servants of the Fong family. Other than his younger brother and mother, he was also one of the closest people to Fong Hui and had followed him for many years. Young master is too polite. This is your old servant's duty, and it's not hard work at all. It's just that the family head is too busy to take care of young master. With a sigh, the white-haired old man called Song Bo clasped his hands together, and a trace of helplessness appeared on his wrinkled old face. He's the family head, and a small character like me is naturally not worthy of his attention. Fong Hui's face was solemn, and he seemed to be disapproving of the family head that the white-haired old man spoke of. He then waved his hand, indicating for the white-haired old man to leave. Yes, young master. Hearing this, the white-haired old man also slowly left. Brother Fong, the family head of the Fong family, Fong Sheng, is your father. Back then, when Wang Lingyun crippled your younger brother, he didn't stop him. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, Fei Rin dryly coughed a few times and then probed. The Fong family has many direct descendants, and the family head's wife has many children, including the gifted young family head Fong Tianyi. My brother and I are just concubines born of a maid, and we're dispensable people. Why would he care about us? Since the day my brother committed suicide, I understood that only by becoming stronger can I get everything I want, including revenge. All other external forces are useless. Fong Hui shook his head and mocked himself. It seemed that he did not have a good impression of his biological father, Fong Sheng. So this is a large family. After stretching his muscles, Fei Rin seemed to be deep in thought. At this moment, he couldn't help but recall his past. Before he became a beggar, Fei Rin's fate wasn't too bad. His parents were ordinary farmers in Wuhan town. Unfortunately, their good days didn't last long before they both died of illness, leaving behind the 9-year-old Fei Rin. Brother Fei, I'll have to trouble you to stay here for this period of time. There's still a week before the hunting meet begins. I'll come find you then. Taking a deep breath, Fong Hui collected his expression and looked at Fei Rin again. Okay. Nodding, Fei Rin didn't say anything else. On the streets of Tianshui town, there were many martial artists and carriages, and there were also many stalls along the way. If one was lucky, they might be able to find some valuable treasures. After cultivating for a while in Fong Hui's courtyard, Fei Rin left the mansion and went to the market. I still have some silver on me. Let's see if I can get some good stuff. Sweeping his gaze across the stalls on both sides of the street, Fei Rin thought to himself. After this period of practice, he had already used up all the low-grade yuan stones and pills in his possession. The only valuable things he had on him were the 100 snake hands, the first grade spirit treasure bayonet that Gua Huai had given him, and more than 50 taels of silver. In a martial arts world, although primordial stones were a hard currency, silver and gold were also popular, but their value was not as high as primordial stones. In the Dacha dynasty, 100 silver pieces could be exchanged for 1 tael of gold, and 10 taels of gold could be exchanged for 1 inferior primordial stone. However, there was a price but no supply. Take a look. This is a first-rate healing elixir. It can improve blood circulation and nourish marrow. It can cure any illness. This tiger's roar dagger is a top-tier weapon. Its power is no weaker than a level 1 spirit treasure. The blade can cut through iron like mud. It only costs 10 inferior primordial stones. It's absolutely fair. Walking the Jianghu. How can you not have a good martial art? A level 1 martial art, chi condensation technique, only costs 5 inferior primordial stones. It's definitely worth it. From time to time, the sound of hawking could be heard in the market. Some body-refining realm martial artists were setting up stalls on both sides of the street, each peddling their own goods. No wonder everyone can cultivate chi condensation technique. It's already so common. Fei Ren's gaze turned and finally landed on a middle-aged man's stall. His face revealed a bitter smile. When he first entered the Iron Palm Gate, the martial art he cultivated was chi condensation technique. Although this martial art could slightly increase one's cultivation speed, compared to the Black Tortoise longevity scripture, it was simply trash. Brother, how much is this thing? After strolling around the market, Fei Ren's footsteps slowly came to a stop at a stall. He then raised his hand and picked up a simple and broken jade pendant from the stall. Little brother, you want this? I stole this from a ruin. It's not anything valuable. If you want it, I'll give it to you for 50 silvers. The owner of the stall was a middle-aged man with sideburns. When he saw that Fei Ren was interested in this broken jade pendant, he immediately grinned and said in an indifferent tone, 50 silvers? Fei Ren's eyebrows slightly furrowed, as if the other party's exorbitant demand made him unhappy. He slowly put down the broken jade pendant in his hand. Brother, are you kidding me? It's just a mere jade pendant. If you sold it to a pawn shop, it wouldn't even be worth 10 silvers. This is a piece of jewelry that I accidentally stole from a ruin. Although it's not worth much, I still put in some effort. How about this? If little brother wants it, it's only 30 silvers. How about it? Seeing that Fei Ren was not a novice who did not know the ways of the world, the bearded middle-aged man restrained his expression and once again extended 3 fingers. His cultivation level was at the 5th level of the body refinement stage. Although 30 silver taels was not much, it was enough to buy a few meals of medicinal cuisine to nourish his body. At most 15 silvers. Shaking his head, Fei Ren's expression was resolute, showing that he would not relent. Forget it. I'll give you 15 silvers. Consider it as me doing you a favor. Seeing this scene, the middle-aged man with sideburns also gave up on bargaining. Originally, he wanted to take advantage of the fact that Fei Ren was interested in this broken jade pendant to ruthlessly extort him, but now his plan had failed. Moreover, the middle-aged man with sideburns had already appraised it. There was nothing special about this broken jade pendant in front of him. It could only be used as a decoration, and if sold to a pawn shop, its value would not exceed 10 silvers. Now that he sold it to Fei Ren for 15 silvers, it could be considered a small profit. Many thanks. Accepting the broken jade pendant, Fei Ren's expression was calm, but a trace of joy flashed across his eyes. Although the bearded middle-aged man couldn't see anything special about the jade pendant, Fei Ren was different. He had just sensed that there was another world inside this broken jade pendant. It seemed that there was a martial art hidden inside. As for its specific rank, he didn't know. He could only rely on his luck. Chapter 41. After buying the broken jade pendant, Fei Ren did not immediately return to the Fong mansion. Instead, he continued to stroll around the market. Tianshui Town, a street corner in the market. You have good eyesight. If I'm not wrong, this broken jade pendant hides a martial art. At this moment, a man's voice suddenly sounded from his side. Who's there? Looking towards the source of the voice, Fei Ren also slowly came to a stop. His eyes were solemn as he saw a young man dressed in a yellow robe, with a long saber hanging from his waist, quietly standing in front of him. At this moment, his face was filled with a smile, causing one to not be wary of him. I'm Li Long from the Wild Blade sect, the young man in the yellow robe said with a smile. So you're a disciple of the Wild Blade sect. I've heard a lot about you. After seeing who it was, Fei Ren calmed down and politely cupped his hands. The other party was able to follow him silently, so his cultivation was definitely not weak. Now that he was in Tianshui town, there were many people around. If it was not necessary, he did not want to kill people on the street. Looking at your appearance, you don't seem to be from Tianshui town. Facing the cautious Fei Run, the young man in the yellow robe, named Li Long, did not mind. He smiled again and said with a kind tone, I'm indeed not from Tianshui town. I'm just a rogue cultivator. Facing Li Long's probing, Fei Run also replied calmly. Li Long's cultivation was the same as his, at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. He was also a disciple of the Wild Blade sect. As the saying goes, a strong dragon cannot defeat a snake in its own territory. Although he could easily deal with Li Long in front of him, provoking the Wild Blade sect would not be worth it unless they were after his broken jade pendant. Brother, don't worry. I'm not interested in your broken jade pendant. I just want to be friends with you. There aren't many people in Tianshui town who can be called a master appraiser. I, Li Long, am one. Brother, you are also one. Seeing that Fei Run was still full of hostility, Li Long spread his hands and shrugged. His face faintly revealed a trace of helplessness. Fei Run, Brotherly didn't come all the way here just to make friends, did he? After announcing his name, Fei Run withdrew his aura and let down his guard a little. After a few probing, he could tell that the other party did not have any enmity. Haha, Brother Fei Run is indeed a smart person. After letting out a long laugh, Li Long opened his mouth again and said, The hunting grand meet is in a week's time. For a young genius like Brother Fei Run to come to Tianshui town, it is likely that he is also here for the hunting grand meet. You want to rope me in? Fei Run was not a fool. He immediately understood Li Long's intentions. That's right. In the hunting grand meet a week later, if Brother Fei is willing to join my Mad Blade Sex team, I am willing to give you half of the ranking rewards. Nodding his head, Li Long did not waste any time and directly stated his conditions. All right, there are 20 inferior grade yuan stones in here. Please accept this small gift as a token of my respect. As if afraid that Fei Run would not agree, Li Long took out a gray pouch from his spirit ring. It was round and bulging. Opening it, one could see that there were 20 inferior grade yuan stones. I'm sorry, but I cannot join your Mad Blade Sex team. Without the slightest hesitation, Fei Run shook his head and rejected the offer. Why? After being stunned for a moment, Li Long's expression slightly changed, as if he hadn't expected this. After all, he had offered such generous conditions, yet Fei Run had rejected it without even thinking. I promised someone that I would help him in the hunting grand meet. This is also the reason why I came to Tianshui town. I hope Brotherly does not mind. Glancing at Li Long in front of him, Fei Run's tone was neither fast nor slow. Although the other party had offered a generous offer, it did not meet his expectations. In this hunting grand meet, Fei Run was aiming for first place. A mere half of the ranking rewards could not even enter his eyes. Is it someone from the CF family? Seemingly unwilling, Li Long gritted his teeth. However, when he saw Fei Run shake his head, he immediately asked, Could it be that guy Fong Tianyi? Nope. Waving his hand, Fei Run's expression was calm. Oh well, since Brother Fei is unwilling to help, then forget it. These inferior grade yuan stones will be given to Brother Fei as a token of friendship. I only hope that on the day of the hunting grand meet, Brother Fei will not attack my Mad Blade Sex disciples. With a sigh, Li Long threw the gray pouch in his hand to Fei Run and cupped his hands in greeting. Fei Run's cultivation level was at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. Even among the younger generation of the 3 major factions in Tianshui town, he was not weak. Even Li Long was extremely wary of him. After all, among the younger generation, other than the Fong family's young clan leader Fong Tianyi and the Xie family's young clan leader Xie Xuanji, Li Long did not place anyone else in his eyes. Since Brotherly owes me a favor, I naturally will not take the initiative to attack. But if the Mad Blade sect disciples take the initiative to cause trouble, then it will be hard to say. Accepting the gray pouch, Fei Run nodded his head. 20 inferior grade yuan stones was not a small sum. It would be a waste to not take it. Right now, he was willing to do Li Long a favor. Brother Fei, don't worry. That will definitely be the case. I will instruct my subordinates until we meet again. Cupping his hands together, Li Long turned and left in a hurry. I earned 20 inferior grade yuan stones for free. Looks like Li Long and the Mad Blade Sex people are easy to deal with. Weighing the heavy gray pouch in his hand, Fei Rin's delicate face revealed a trace of a smile. With these 20 inferior grade yuan stones and the help of the Black Tortoise longevity scripture, his yuan power cultivation level breaking through to the 8th level of the body refinement stage was just around the corner. After strolling around the market for a while, Fei Rin returned to the Fong mansion without any gains. Coincidentally, he bumped into Fong Hui, who was in the middle of training. "Brother Fong, I just met someone from the Mad Blade sect on the street. I think he was called Li Long or something. Looks like it won't be easy for us to win this year's hunting meet." Walking to Fong Hui's side, Fei Rin casually said with a playful tone, "Li Long. He is the young clan leader of the Mad Blade sect. His strength is not ordinary." Hearing this, Fong Hui also stopped training, his face full of shock. So he is the young clan leader of the Mad Blade sect. No wonder. Rubbing his chin, Fei Rin had a thoughtful expression on his face. After all, the other party was able to give out 20 inferior grade yuan stones at once. Such a generous gift, his background must not be small. Other than this Li Long, the Xie family Xie Xuanji and the young clan leader Fong Tianyi are the top figures of the younger generation in Tianshui town. Their strength is valiant. Even Wang Lingyun back then was no match for them. With my current strength, I am simply no match for them. If I want to get a good ranking in the hunting meet, I will definitely have to clash with these people. That is why I asked for Brother Fei's help. Sighing, Fong Hui lamented. His talent was not weak, reaching the 4th level of the body refinement stage before the age of 16. However, compared to the top geniuses like Li Long, Xie Xuanji, and Fong Tianyi, Fong Hui was still lacking. After all, these people were at least at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. Chapter 42. How many people are participating in this year's hunt? Fei Rin asked in a low voice, ignoring Fong Hui's sigh. Based on past records, there should be at least 50 people in the younger generation of the 3 factions. However, for the sake of killing magical beasts as quickly as possible, most of the participants would form teams. It's rare for them to fight alone. As a descendant of the Fong clan and a young master-born of a concubine, Fong Hui was naturally well aware of this situation. Every year, Tianshui Town's hunt will be filled with heroes. If they did not invite Fei Rin, this powerful external aid, even if Fong Hui's cultivation had broken through to the 5th level of the body refinement realm, he would not have much hope. After all, it was too difficult to fight his way into the top 10, and none of his opponents were simple. The hunt used a point system. Every time a magical beast was killed, a corresponding point would be awarded, and the final ranking would be determined by the total points of the team. Without Fei Rin's help, with Fong Hui's cultivation, he would only be able to kill a few common rank magical beasts at most. These points were not even worth mentioning. From the looks of it, the 3 strongest teams in this year's hunt should be the teams led by Xie Xuanji, Fong Tianyi, and Li Long. As long as I can surpass them, I can win this year's hunt. Rubbing his chin, Fei Rin said in deep thought. That's right. According to the rules of the hunt, each team can only have 4 members at most. The younger generation that can join Xie Xuanji, Fong Tianyi, and Li Long's teams must be at least at the 6th level of the body refinement realm and belong to the top of the class. Hunting common rank magical beasts is not a problem for them. Because of this, no matter how many magical beasts those normal teams kill, the points they get will be far less than theirs. Being able to squeeze into the top 10 is already very good. Nodding his head, Fong Hui deeply agreed. Currently, his team only had 1 member, Fei Rin. Although Fei Rin's strength was incomparably strong, there were only the 2 of them. If they wanted to quickly kill magical beasts and obtain points, they would need to rope in 2 more teammates. I see, but my speed of killing magical beasts is not necessarily slower than theirs. Fei Rin grinned, as if he already had a plan in mind. The location of the big hunting meet was located at the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range. Within a radius of 500 miles, killing a low-level common rank magic beast would give you 1 point, a mid-level common rank magic beast would give you 5 points, and a high-level common rank magic beast would give you 10 points. As for a top-level common rank magic beast, it was even more exaggerated. Killing one would give you 50 points. The final ranking would be determined by the accumulated points. At that time, the referee would count the heads or corpses of the magical beasts obtained by each team and calculate the accumulated points and ranking. There would also be the leaders of the 3 great forces present at the scene. So, there was no way to cheat. Brother Fei, just the 2 of us? Fong, we seem to have read Fei Ren's mind. He paused for a moment, then hesitated. More people won't do us any good. Instead, they'll drag us down. 2 people are enough. As long as you do as I say, Brother Fong, it won't be a problem for you to get into the top 3 in the hunting meet. If you're lucky, it's not impossible for you to get first place. With a faint smile, Fei Ren also patted Fong Hui's shoulder as he advised him. It was obvious that he had made up his mind. All right, when the time comes, I'll rely on Brother Fei. Seeing Fei Ren's calm and collected face, the uneasiness in Fong Hui's heart dissipated. He was only at the 4th level of the body, refinement realm. At most, he could act as a guide in this hunting meet. Back then, even Wang Lingyun, who was so arrogant, was crippled by Fei Ren. There was no reason for him to not believe in Fei Ren. Moreover, this hunting meet itself was a gamble. If he won, Fong Hui himself would become famous and receive the attention and training of the Fong family. His deceased mother would also be moved to the Fong family's ancestral grave. Even if he lost the gamble, he would not lose anything. After bidding farewell to Fong Hui, Fei Ren returned to his house. At the same time, he took out the broken jade pendant that he had bought at the market from his spirit ring. I wonder what kind of martial arts is hidden within it. Fei Ren gripped the broken jade pendant tightly in his palm. In the next moment, Fei Ren circulated his yuan power and crushed the broken jade pendant. As the broken jade pendant turned into powder and scattered, a brown-yellow remnant scroll was revealed. The remnant scroll was extremely dark and dirty. It seemed to be made out of parchment paper, and a few lines of small black characters could be faintly seen on it. It really is a martial art. Seeing the parchment scroll appear, Fei Ren's face turned cold. Unfettered blade technique. It's actually a level 2 blade technique. The heavens are really helping me. Gently opening the parchment scroll, Fei Ren's face turned from shock to joy. The parchment scroll in front of him actually recorded a level 2 martial art. Moreover, it was a blade technique. It was very suitable for the current Fei Ren. Currently, the wasp bayonet in Fei Ren's hand was a level 1 spirit treasure. Unfortunately, he did not have a suitable blade technique martial art. He was unable to fully display the power of the wasp bayonet. The unfettered blade technique in front of him was no different from sending charcoal in snowy weather. It just happened to fill the gap in his strength. The unfettered blade technique was a level 2 martial art. If Fei Ren successfully cultivated it, coupled with the support of the level 1 spirit treasure wasp bayonet, its power would be close to a level 3 martial art. It was much stronger than the Black Tiger Palm and 100 Snake Hands. It was comparable to a trump card. Unfettered blade technique. The nature is free and unfettered. It has no desires and no desires. Its attack is like an eagle in the sky. Its defense is like a boulder in 10,000 seas. Fei Ren silently recited all the carefree blade art recorded on the remnant parchment in his heart. The next moment, he circulated his yuan power and transformed it into a wisp of flame, burning the remnant parchment into a pile of black ashes. If I can master this level 2 martial art, I can even put up a fight against a half-step middle unite stage expert. I might even have a chance to kill him. Slowly pulling out the wasp bayonet from his back, Fei Ren gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. His expression was firm. There was still a week before the big hunting meet. During this period of time, besides cultivating the black tortoise immortality scripture and the unfettered blade technique, he could not neglect the 100 snake hands and his yuan power cultivation. These would affect Fei Ren's overall strength. Chop! With a loud shout, Fei Rin swung the wasp bayonet in his hand forward. Rolling yuan power wrapped around the edge of the blade, emitting a cold light. In the next moment, dozens of blade chi burst out and swept out. Immediately, the stone wall beside him was torn into pieces, leaving only dust on the ground. What a powerful blade chi! Is this the power of the unfettered blade technique? Withdrawing his blade, Fei Rin's face was filled with shock. Although he had borrowed the power of the wasp bayonet, the unfettered blade technique had just broken through to the beginner level. Its power was enough to tear apart a stone wall that was several meters tall. It was enough to show the power of the unfettered blade technique. What a powerful blade technique! If I had mastered this technique, I would not have had to go through so much trouble to deal with that grandson Wang Lingyun. I could have just chopped him up and done with it. Feeling the power of the unfettered blade technique, Fei Rin took a deep breath. Then, he waved the wasp bayonet again and cultivated the unfettered blade technique in the small courtyard in front of him. From time to time, he would slash out a few sharp blade chi in the air, bringing about gusts of whistling wind. Chapter 43. Within the courtyard, waves of blade chi swept out. Unfettered slash, Fei Rin bellowed, and in the next moment, he flicked his wrist, and a huge snow-white blade chi burst out from the tip of the wasp stinger. It was like a roaring dragon, and immediately tore everything in its path into pieces, leaving behind only a mess. As expected of the ultimate move of the unfettered blade technique. The power of this unfettered slash is something that even a 10th level body refinement stage martial artist cannot match. Heavily exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Fei Rin's eyes sharpened as a sense of ecstasy welled up in his heart. After this period of training, he had finally mastered the level 2 unfettered blade technique to initial mastery. Its power had increased by another level. As for the unfettered slash, it was currently one of Fei Rin's trump cards. It consumed a lot of yuan power, and he would not use it unless he had no other choice. Swoosh! Just as Fei Rin finished his cultivation, Feng Hui rushed over from outside the courtyard. His expression hurried. "Brother Fei, were you training before?" Looking at the mess in front of him, Feng Hui swallowed his saliva. His face was filled with shock. Fei Rin's destructive power was simply beyond his imagination. "Yes, I did not stop in time. Brother, please forgive me." Seeing Feng Hui step into the courtyard, Fei Rin slowly sheathed his wasp bayonet and placed it behind his back. His handsome face revealed a trace of apology. After all, this courtyard was Feng Hui's residence. Now that he had caused such a huge commotion while practicing his blade technique and almost destroyed the courtyard, it was indeed somewhat embarrassing. It's all right. I'll get Uncle Song and the servants to clean up in a bit." Hearing this, Feng Hui's expression gradually returned to normal. He waved his hand and laughed dryly. "Brother Feng, why are you looking for me?" Stepping forward, Fei Rin probed. There was still a week before the big hunting meet. Feng Hui did not stay in the house to train, and instead ran around. There must be a reason for this. "Sigh, it's because of that kid Feng Shengli." Feng Hui shrugged and helplessly said, "Feng Shengli?" Fei Ren's face was filled with doubt. "I forgot to mention that Feng Shengli is a descendant of the Feng family. His cultivation base is not bad, and he used to be good friends with me. This time, when he heard that I found a strong external aid to participate in the big hunting meet, he wanted to join my team no matter what." Feng Hui said slowly. "You promised him?" Fei Rin asked again with a surprised expression on his face. "That's not true. However, after I rejected this kid, he became flustered and exasperated and insisted on coming over to compete with you. He said that he wanted to see if your strength was really that powerful. I couldn't stop him." "I hope that Brother Fei will show mercy." Feng Hui shook his head helplessly and smiled awkwardly at the same time. "Wherever he is, I don't mind giving him some pointers." Fei Rin rubbed his chin as a playful smile appeared on his face. He had just finished cultivating the carefree blade technique, and someone had come to him to be his punching bag. He would naturally not let go of such a delightful opportunity. "Feng Hui, I heard that you found a strong external aid. Why are you hiding and not showing yourself? At this moment, a loud male voice came from outside the courtyard. In the next moment, a figure flashed, and a half-naked black-haired youth stepped into the courtyard. The black-haired youth had a strong physique. His hands were tied with heavy boxing bands, and his face was full of fighting spirit. "This kid is here." Seeing the black-haired youth suddenly appear, Fong Hui's face froze, and he consciously retreated to the side. "You are Fong Xingli?" Looking at the black-haired youth in front of him, Fei Rin's face was slightly surprised. The black-haired youth had a strong physique. Although he didn't look old, his height was close to 7 feet, giving people a sense of oppression. His cultivation base was also not weak, having reached the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Although he was far from being comparable to Fei Rin, he was still stronger than Fong Hui. "That's me. You are the strong external aid that Fong Hui invited?" Facing Fei Rin's probing, the black-haired youth named Fong Xingli nodded confidently. Then, he looked at Fei Rin and said in a probing tone, although the Fei Rin in front of him was about the same age as him, the aura around him was deep like an abyss, as if there was an invisible barrier blocking him. Even if Fong Xingli used all his strength and released his origin energy to probe, it was useless. "Strange, I can't see through his cultivation base. Could it be?" Thinking of this, Fong Xingli's eyes narrowed. His face suddenly became serious, as if he could see that Fei Rin was not simple. "I heard that you want to have a spar with me?" Although he could kill Fong Xingli with a raise of his hand, Fei Rin didn't want to use his full strength in front of Fong Hui. If possible, he didn't mind giving him some pointers. "I am Fong Xingli. May I know your name?" Seeing that Fei Rin's strength was not ordinary, Fong Xingli's attitude became much more respectful. He cupped his hands and probed. "Fei Rin, make your move." Slightly nodding, Fei Rin's face was still as calm as water. "Then I won't be polite. Take this." Just as he finished speaking, Fong Xingli also swung his fist at Fei Rin. Strands of origin energy wrapped around his fists. The fist strength was like a tiger's wind. Bang! Standing still, Fei Rin took Fong Xingli's fist head-on. At the same time, his left palm blasted out. A black tiger palm chi also swept out, instantly enveloping Fong Xingli's body, and the tiger's roar was endless. Not good. Failing to hit, Fong Xingli's face changed slightly. In the next moment, he stomped his feet on the ground and hurriedly retreated, barely dodging Fei Rin's black tiger palm chi. What a powerful guy. I've already used 80% of my strength, but I can't even shake his defense. Fong Xingli's face changed slightly, and he was secretly shocked. "Xingli, you are not Brother Fei's match." To one side, seeing that Fong Xingli was at a disadvantage, Fong Hui also tried to dissuade him. His tone was helpless, as if he had already expected this. "Fong Hui, don't interfere. I want to see what kind of ability he has." As if his competitive spirit had been aroused, Fong Xingli lightly snorted. In the next moment, he slowly removed the heavy fist bands that were tied around his hands. The origin energy on his body rose again, infinitely close to the 6th level of the body refinement stage. Bang! The fist bands fell to the ground, emitting a dull sound. It seemed that they were not light. This brat actually used such heavy fist bands to fight. So it was to train his body. Glancing at the layers of fist bands under Fong Xingli's feet, Fei Rin crossed his arms in front of his chest, his face slightly surprised. Mount Tai Crush. Without waiting for Fei Rin to make his move, Fong Xingli attacked again. His body leapt high into the air, his hands forming fists in front of his chest. In the next moment, he ferociously fell towards Fei Rin on the ground. The origin energy on his body gushed out, as if he was a human-shaped mountain, directly landing on the ground with a piercing sound. 100 snake hands. Facing Fong Xingli's strongest attack, Fei Rin restrained his expression. In the next moment, his left hand formed into a palm, and at the same time, his origin energy surged. In the next moment, it transformed into a dozen layers of snake shadows, and in the blink of an eye, they shot towards Fong Xingli in the air. Chapter 44. Level 2 Martial Arts. Mastery Stage. On the side, seeing Fei Run use his best martial arts, Feng Hui's eyes widened in shock. Back at the Iron Palm Gate, Fei Ren had used this move to contend against Wang Lingyun's Vajra extermination, and was not at a disadvantage at all. Now, in less than half a month, Fei Ren's 100 snake hands had improved once again, reaching the mastery stage. His progress could be said to be godly. Bang! Rumble! Fang Shengli's elbow and fist fiercely collided with the layers of snake shadows. In the next moment, surging origin energy exploded, emitting a burst of loud, muffled sounds. Fang Shengli's body also fell backwards in a sorry state, finally landing heavily on the ground. Pucci! His body struggled to climb up from the ground. In the next moment, Fang Shengli's face paled, and he spat out a mouthful of thick blood. The origin power undulations on his body also dropped by a level. It seemed that he had suffered a serious injury in this exchange. So strong. Even if I used all my strength, I still wouldn't be his match. Where did Feng Hui find such a monster? Fang Shengli wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He no longer had the arrogance from before, and his face was filled with shock. Looking at Fei Run, his eyes were filled with fear. Thank you for letting me win. Easily defeating Fang Shengli in one move, Fei Run also cupped his hands in respect, his attitude humble. I already told you, Brother Fei's strength is valiant. You are simply not his match. Why ask for trouble? Seeing that Fang Shengli was defeated as expected, Feng Hui also leapt to Fang Shengli's side and gently helped him up, his tone helpless. Ha ha! To be able to compete with a strong opponent, even if I lose, I am happy. Isn't this also a type of training? Fang Shengli laughed, coughing up blood. Even though Fei Run had intentionally shown mercy, his cultivation was still at the 7th level of the body refinement stage. The 100 Snake Hands was also a level 2 martial arts. Its power was not ordinary. Fang Shengli's origin power cultivation was only at the 5th level of the body refinement stage, so it was difficult for him to resist. Injuries were inevitable. Brother Fei Run, your strength is unfathomable. I presume you have already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage? With Brother's help in this hunting meet, Feng Hui can be considered to have found someone to rely on. If nothing goes wrong, it shouldn't be a problem for him to make it into the top 10. The hunting meet is held once every 3 years, and the reward for the top 10 are enough to make people jealous. Fang Shengli slowly opened his mouth as he took out a Tier 1 medicinal pill and swallowed it. A look of envy appeared on his face as he looked at Feng Hui. Like Feng Hui, Fang Shengli also planned to participate in the hunting meet. However, he had not found a suitable teammate for the time being. After all, the hunting meet was based on the number and level of the magical beasts killed. An individual would definitely not be able to compete with a group, regardless of combat power or efficiency. Luckily, with your cultivation level at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, you aren't considered weak in the Fang clan. It's just that your defense and speed aren't too good. Even though your attacks are overbearing, if you can't hit your opponent, it's useless. You'll only waste your origin energy. Slightly nodding his head, Fei Ren also pointed out Fang Shengli's weaknesses as he slowly explained. Relying on his overwhelming strength, Fei Ren did not dodge his opponent's attacks. If it was a real life and death battle, even if Fang Shengli's attacks were 10 times stronger, they would still be useless in front of Fei Ren. He would not be able to hit Fei Ren at all. This was the difference in speed. Thank you, brother, for your pointers. Hearing this, Fang Shengli took a deep breath and clasped his hands in respect. Seeing that he was easily defeated by Fei Ren, Fang Shengli was completely convinced. He did not dare to challenge Fei Ren again. After all, he was only at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, while Fei Ren's cultivation level had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement realm. This was enough to match Li Long from the Wild Blade sect, Xie Clan's young master Xie Xuanji, and Fang Clan's young master Fang Tianyi. Previously, when I exchanged blows with Brother, I benefited greatly. Forgive my rudeness. I'll take my leave first. Once again clasped his hands in respect, Feng Shengli also turned and hurriedly left the courtyard. It seemed that he had gained a lot of martial insights from this battle. Brother Fei, this kid disturbed your training. I'm really sorry. After Feng Shengli left, Feng Hui also looked at Fei Ren beside him, his face revealing a trace of apology. No matter, you're actually the same as him. Although you're a concubine's young master and a branch disciple, your talent is not inferior to the other direct descendants of the Feng clan. Nobility, generals, and generals all have the guts. Not everyone is born strong. Looking meaningfully at Feng Hui, Fei Ren calmly said, Nobility, generals, and generals all have the guts. Is this Brother Fei's martial path? I understand. His gaze was deep in thought. In the next moment, a trace of fire flashed in Feng Hui's eyes, and he slowly nodded his head. The next day, in the courtyard, carefree / Fei Ren was dressed in a black robe, his right hand holding the wasp bayonet tightly. His entire body's origin power swept out, and at this moment he was cultivating the carefree blade technique. From time to time, he would slash out a biting cold, sharp snow-white blade chi. As the blade chi swept out, the wind within a radius of several hundred feet whistled, and the vegetation was shattered. Withdraw. Another snow-white blade chi slashed out, completely shattering a huge wooden pillar in front of him, turning it into powder. Fei Ren slowly withdrew the wasp bayonet, and at the same time, exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. It's time to break through. His eyes were bright and full of spirit. After nearly a day of cultivation, he had completely stabilized the rank 2 martial art, carefree blade technique at the small success stage. He had also cultivated the 100 snake hands to perfection stage, and his strength had increased by a lot. Only his origin power cultivation remained stagnant. Fei Ren's origin power cultivation was at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and was only 1 step away from the 8th level of the body refinement realm. After these days of cultivating the black tortoise longevity scripture, his dantian was gradually overflowing with origin power, and he was only 1 step away. As the ancient saying goes, everything is ready except for the east wind. Fei Ren still had the 20 inferior grade origin stones that Li Long gave him. Previously, because he was cultivating the carefree blade technique, he had kept them in his spirit ring and did not use them. This was the east wind that he needed to break through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. Black tortoise as strength, obtain the Tao, and live forever. Taking out 20 inferior grade origin stones from his spirit ring, he slowly spread them out in front of him. In the next moment, Fei Ren also grabbed 1 inferior grade origin stone in each of his hands, and immediately began to cultivate the black tortoise longevity scripture. After a while, strands of pure origin power flowed into his dantian, and was finally completely absorbed by the refining Immortal Cauldron. The refining Immortal Cauldron was the world's one and only immortal Tao treasure. It was able to refine all things for its own use, and even origin power was no exception. The amount of origin power contained within the inferior grade origin stones was not much, but after being swallowed and refined by the refining Immortal Cauldron, it was able to produce several times more pure origin power. Because he held the refining Immortal Cauldron in his hands, Fei Ren's origin power cultivation was able to continuously break through. In a short span of half a year, he went from a powerless ordinary person to a martial artist at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, 8th level of the body refinement realm. After an unknown amount of time, the 20 inferior grade origin stones had all turned into dust. The origin power aura on Fei Ren's body was also slowly rising, like a hidden dragon in the abyss. In the next moment, he finally broke through the shackles and successfully stepped into the 8th level of the body refinement realm. I finally broke through. These inferior grade origin stones were not wasted. Licking his dry lips, Fei Ren also reached out his hand to wipe off the sweat on his forehead, and a trace of joy appeared on his handsome face. Chapter 45. After breaking through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm, Fei Rin's training came to an end. There were less than 5 days before the start of the Great Hunt. Taking advantage of these few days of free time, he went out to inquire about the situation of the 3 major powers in Tianshui Town. Tianshui Town was an important border town located at the southwest border of the Dacha dynasty. Like Wuhan Town, it was backed by the Hengduan mountain range, where martial arts were prevalent. The only major powers in the town were the Xie clan, Fang clan, and the Wild Blade sect. The Wild Blade sect was an external power, and their leader, Li Guangdao, was not from Tianshui Town. Although the Wild Blade sect was an external power, they relied on the strength of their leader, Li Guangdao, to become one of the 3 major powers in Tianshui Town in a short 20 years. This was enough to show Li Guangdao's brilliance. Li Long, who Fei Rin had met before, was the son of the current leader of the Wild Blade sect, Li Guangdao. Like his father, Li Long was also well-versed in the ways of alliances. Otherwise, he would not have spent so much money to rope in Fei Rin and make friends with various heroes. As a third-rate power, the Wild Blade sect had many disciples. Among them, the lowest-level disciple was at the 3rd level of the body refinement realm, similar to Wu and Town's Taizhong Gate. The strongest of the younger generation was Li Long, who was at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. His overall strength was not inferior to a normal 8th-level body refinement realm cultivator. Aside from the Wild Blade sect, the Fang clan's background was also not ordinary. As one of the local powers in Tianshui Town, the Fang clan had been rooted in Tianshui Town for hundreds of years. It was said that the Fang clan's ancestor joined the army in his early years as a lieutenant in the Iron Blood Army. Although the current head of the Fang clan, Fang Sheng, was an expert at the 4th stage of the Middle Union realm, his strength was far inferior to that of the Fang clan's ancestor. The Fang clan's ancestor's strength had already stepped into the 7th stage of the Middle Union realm. Back then, the Fang clan was also a first-rate power, suppressing all the heroes. Both the Fang clan and the Wild Blade sect were now 3rd-rate powers, so it was easy for Fei Rin to find out some information about them. The only exception was the Xie clan. The Xie clan was the only 2nd-rate power in Celestial Water Town. Other than the fact that they had no less than 5 Middle Unity experts, Fei Rin did not know anything else about them. Let's go ask that kid Fang Hui. Fei Rin got up and walked towards Fang Hui's room. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy to be victorious in 100 battles. As long as he knew the situation of Xie Xuanji and the Xie family's disciples, Fei Rin was confident that he could defeat them one by one in the great hunting meet. Brother Fei, you want to know more about Xie Xuanji? Inside the room, Fang Hui had just finished cultivating, and his face was slightly surprised. After this period of cultivation and Fei Rin's occasional pointers, Fang Hui's cultivation level was steadily increasing. He was not far from the 5th level of the body refinement stage and would be able to break through in less than half a month. That's right. Fei Rin nodded. I've heard that Xie Xuanji is the most outstanding person in the younger generation of Heavenly Water Town. His strength is even stronger than Li Long and Fang Tianyi, and his cultivation is not inferior to the 8th level of the body refinement realm. Moreover, he once exchanged blows with a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist and was only defeated after 50 moves. He is an extremely ruthless person. Taking a deep breath, Fang Hui said with a serious face. He exchanged 50 moves with a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist before being defeated. This guy does have some ability. Hearing this, Fei Rin narrowed his eyes. Although he had broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement realm and his true strength was comparable to the half-step Middle Union realm, without the help of the Immortal refining Cauldron and the Black Tortoise's longevity scripture, his chances of winning against a 10th level body refinement realm martial artist were not high. Xie Xuanji being able to exchange 50 moves before being defeated showed his strength. Brother Fei, even if we can't win the great hunting meet this time, it's fine as long as we get into the top 5. We'll do our best. Fang Hui seemed to know that the difficulty was not small. So he explained again. TCH, since I promised to help you, then I'll help you to the end. We must fight for the first place in this great hunting meet. Waving his hand, Fei Ren indicated that it was fine, and a trace of determination flashed across his handsome face. The ancient said that if the enemy was strong, then he would be stronger. He actually hoped that the opponent would be stronger. On the path of martial arts, only by constantly fighting could one increase one's strength. There was not a single strong person who relied on luck to achieve a hegemony. They were all killed with real swords and spears. Unknowingly, a few days had passed, and Tianshui Town finally welcomed the start of the Great Hunting Meet. Because of the Great Hunting Meet, Tianshui Town was more prosperous than usual. Martial artists and rogue cultivators from all over streamed towards the town center, and there was no lack of commoners who came to watch the fun. Before the Great Hunting Meet officially began, the younger generation of the various forces would temporarily gather in the town center. At the same time, the leaders of the three major forces would also appear to preside over the opening ceremony. In the town center, on a high platform, three figures could be seen standing quietly, their auras vigorous. Brother Fong, Brother Li, I trust you've been well since we last met. In the middle of the high platform, a middle-aged man in a blue robe grinned. The next moment, he looked at the two figures beside him, his tone full of politeness. The middle-aged man in a blue robe had a tall figure. Although his face was a little sallow, his eyes were very shrewd and unfathomable. He was the current head of the Xie family, Xie, a rare middle unity stage 4 expert in Tianshui Town. Beside Xie stood a bald man with a saber on his back and a thin man in a black robe. In the face of Xie's politeness, the two of them only nodded slightly and did not say much. The leaders of the three major forces are here. If it wasn't for the Great Hunting Meet, it would be very difficult to see three middle unity stage experts at once. Yes, these few people can be considered the top fighting force of our Tianshui Town. Not far away, sighs and laments could be heard from the surrounding crowd. For a moment, there was a lot of discussion. It seemed that the majority of the people present were attracted by the leaders of the three major forces on the high platform, and the atmosphere was very lively. Not everyone is here yet. The thin man in a black robe looked around and then frowned slightly. Brother Fong, please forgive me. My disciple Li Long is still on the way. Just as he finished speaking, the bald man with a saber on his back also smiled faintly, as if he did not care. Brother Li's style is still the same as before, not bothering about trifles. Glancing at Li Guangdao beside him, the thin man in a black robe shook his head and did not speak anymore. The thin man in a black robe was called Fong Sheng, and he was the current head of the Fong family. As for the bald man with a saber on his back, he was the famous sect head of the Mad Blade sect, Li Guangdao. The two of them were equally famous as the head of the Xie family, Xie, and were the leaders of the three major forces in Tianshui Town. In a short while, the younger generation of the three major forces had all arrived. Among them, other than Xie Xuanji, Fong Tianyi, and Li Long, there were also many experts at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement stage. As for Fei Ren and Fong Hui, they kept a low profile and joined the crowd, quietly waiting for the Great Hunting Meet to begin. Brother Fei, the hunting location is within a radius of 500 miles around the Hengduan mountain range. At that time, we don't have to fight with these people. We only need to wait for an opportunity to act, and then we can reap the benefits, whispering to Fei Ren beside him. Fong Hui's expression was cautious, as if he was under great pressure. Chapter 46. I hereby announce the start of the Big Hunting Meet. Seeing that almost everyone had arrived, Xie nodded his head and waved his hand, announcing the start of the Big Hunting Meet. Swish, swish, swish. As soon as Xie finished speaking, a group of young elites rushed out and headed towards the Hengduan mountain range. The time limit for the big hunt was 1 week. Only by killing demonic beasts and obtaining points and ranking in the top 10 would one be able to obtain rewards. However, for some young elites, being able to rank in the top 10 wasn't important. The most important thing was to survive and temper their own strength. On the outskirts of the Hungduan mountain range, four figures slowly appeared. Young master, everyone is here. A gray-robed man knelt on one knee with his head lowered. In front of him stood a black-haired, handsome youth with a gloomy face. Very good. This time, not only will I take first place, but I will also bury Fong Tianyi and Li Long in the stomach of the magical beasts. Spread the name of the Xie family. The black-haired, handsome youth smiled viciously. It was the Xie family's young master, Xie Xuanji. Different from Fei Rin's two-man team, Xie Xuanji's team composition for this hunt could be said to be luxurious. Other than his own cultivation level being at the 8th level of the body refinement realm, the other 3 team members under him were all at the 6th level of the body refinement realm and above. As for the gray-robed man kneeling in front of him, his cultivation level was even at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. His strength was not ordinary. 2 at the 6th level of the body refinement realm, 1 at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and Xie Xuanji, who was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Even if they encountered a mortal-level magical beast, their 4-man team could still easily deal with it. This was where Xie Xuanji's confidence came from. After all, within a 500-mile radius of the outskirts of the Hungduan mountain range, a mortal-level magical beast was rare. Most of the magical beasts that appeared in the outskirts of the Hungduan mountain range were intermediate and advanced mortal-level magical beasts. As for yellow-level magical beasts, they were unheard of. After all, yellow-level magical beasts were comparable to middle and high-level magical beasts. Let's go. Let's hunt the magical beasts first, and then think of a way to deal with the Madblade sect and the Fong family. Father has ordered that even if we can't kill Fong Tianyi and Li Long, we can't let the others go. Apart from the Xie clan's disciples, everyone else is an enemy. Xie Xuanji glanced at his subordinates with a fierce expression. Here, the 3 Xie clan disciples, including the gray-robed man, nodded heavily in unison, and they seemed to follow Xie Xianji's lead. In the forest of the mountain range, 2 silhouettes could be seen shuttling back and forth. One of them had a delicate face and calm eyes. It was Fei Rin, who had entered the mountain not long ago. Feng Hui, the map, Fei Rin's figure suddenly stopped. In the next moment, he looked at Feng Hui and said, "Swish, swish." Without wasting any time, Feng Hui took out a map from his bag and slowly spread it out in front of Fei Rin, a cautious look on his face. "Brother Fei, we've traveled about 200 miles into the mountain range. Although we're still in the periphery, the magical beasts we've encountered along the way are at least of the mortal middle rank. What's our next move?" He stretched out his hand and gestured on the map. In the next moment, Feng Hui also looked at Fei Rin, as if waiting for his next instruction. "Magical beasts below the mortal high rank give us 2 little points, and killing them is a waste of time. This time, we'll just kill people and reap the benefits." After thinking for a while, Fei Rin clenched his left hand into a fist and slammed it heavily on the map. At the same time, a sly look appeared on his face. "Brother Fei, you want to attack the other teams?" Hearing this, Feng Hui's face froze, as if he was surprised. "What? The rules don't allow it?" Seeing Feng Hui's reaction, Fei Rin frowned slightly. "That's not it. There are casualties in every hunting meet. This is unavoidable. It's just that this will easily attract hatred, and I'm afraid we'll become the target of public criticism." Shaking his head, Feng Hui smiled bitterly, as if he was worried. "Brother Feng, I'll be honest with you, other than Xie Xuanji, Li Long, and Fong Tianyi, the rest of the teams are just fodder, not worth mentioning." With a disdainful smile, Fei Rin said disapprovingly, "And if you want to quickly gain points other than killing high-level magical beasts, you can only rob. Don't worry, I won't touch the Fong family's disciples, unless they're determined to die. As for the Xie family and the Wild Blade sect, it depends on whether they know their place or not. Otherwise, I don't mind sending them to heaven. Let's go." The hunt has begun. Fei Rin patted Feng Hui's shoulder to reassure him, and in the next moment, he jumped and ran into the dense forest ahead. Seeing this, Feng Hui immediately put away the map and followed closely behind. Hunhua Mountain Range. On an open space on a cliff, there was suddenly the sound of fierce fighting and the roar of a beast. The two of you restrain this beast on the left and right. I'll give it a fatal blow. Yes, young master. On the open space, a few young men with weapons in their hands were surrounding a huge armored rhinoceros. The one in the lead had a determined face, and his aura was like a rainbow. It was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, Li Long. This armored rhinoceros's magical aura was not weak. It had already reached the high level of the mortal level. However, its thick skin was covered with cuts, and traces of blood could be seen. It seemed that because of the encirclement, its injuries were not light. At this moment, it was mournfully roaring. Roar! Roar! Because of its injuries, the armored rhinoceros's eyes were incomparably red, and it was already in a state of rage. With a loud roar, it broke through the encirclement of the crowd, and then fiercely collided with one of the young men at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, instantly sending him flying. Rumble! Poochie! The young man's face was pale, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. In the next moment, his body fell to the ground, as if he had suffered a serious injury. Wild blade splitting space. Rumble! With a loud roar, seeing that his comrade was injured, Li Long's eyes widened in anger. In the next moment, the long blade in his hand slashed through the air, and a lightning-like blade energy instantly pierced through the air, ruthlessly landing on the armored rhinoceros's stomach. Roar! The blade energy exploded, and in an instant, blood splattered everywhere. The armored rhinoceros also let out a miserable howl, and finally crashed to the ground, completely dead. Young master, we finally finished off this beast. It's a pity that Lu Nung was injured by this beast before it died, and it will probably take some time to heal. After finishing off the high level of the armored rhinoceros, a short-haired young man also withdrew his weapon, and in the next moment, he came in front of Li Long and knelt on one knee. Rest for now, and pay attention to the surroundings in case of a sneak attack by magical beasts or enemies. Also, inform the nearby Wild Blade sect disciples to gather near me. Hunting magical beasts for points is a small matter, but it is more important to not be ambushed by the Fong and Xie families. We need to conserve our strength. Glancing at the young man named Lu Nung, who was heavily injured, Li Long's face became serious, and in the next moment he waved his hand. Yes, young master. Lowering his head and accepting the order, the short-haired young man once again clasped his hands. Chapter 47. Strange, I didn't see any Xie family disciples along the way. Could it be that they are plotting something again? After instructing his subordinates to be on guard, Li Long sat down cross-legged and took out a pill from his spirit ring and swallowed it. He started to recover his Yuan power with a serious expression on his face. Unlike the Wild Blade sect and Fong family, the Xie family was a second-rate force. Their disciples were generally stronger than the Wild Blade sect. Moreover, the Xie family had always been at odds with the Wild Blade sect. In the previous hunting conventions, the two families often clashed. But this time, other than Xie Xuanji's group, there were at least 20 to 30 Xie family disciples participating in this hunting convention. There were 7 to 8 teams, and their combined strength was slightly stronger than the Wild Blade sect disciples. If it was a direct battle, Li Long and his group would not have an advantage. Currently, killing a high mortal level demon beast would give them 10 points. Although one of his subordinates was seriously injured, the result was good. Li Long and his group also found a demon core from the dead armored rhino, which made up for their losses. Kacha, a Wild Blade sect disciple, raised his blade and chopped off the head of the armored rhino. He then kept it in his bag. At this time, Li Long looked over and said in a deep voice, "Has the news been released? Young master, we have sent someone to send it out." A Wild Blade sect disciple kept his weapon and said respectfully, although this hunting convention was led by the 3 major forces of the Tianshui town, there were also some disciples from smaller families participating. Although the Wild Blade sect had a good foundation, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. If they were surrounded by other forces, they would definitely suffer heavy casualties. Xie Xuanji had always been a scheming person. Along the way, Li Long did not see any Xie family disciples. It was as if they had evaporated into thin air. Li Long's heart was filled with uneasiness. At this moment, he could not care less about killing demon beasts. Instead, he hurriedly gathered the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples. Xie Xuanji, if you dare to attack the Wild Blade sect disciples, I will definitely kill you. With a serious face, Li Long's right hand that was holding the long blade could not help but secretly tighten. In the dense forest of the mountain range, a fierce battle was still going on. Xie Xuanji, how dare you backstab me? Shameless! A furious shout suddenly sounded out, and in the next moment, it stopped abruptly. A white-robed young man was forcefully grabbed by the neck and lifted into the air. At this moment, his face was flushed red, and he seemed to be unable to exert the strength in his entire body. Around him, blood flowed like a river, and corpses covered the ground. It was an extremely tragic scene. The winner is king, and the loser is a bandit. Xie Xuanji shot a glance at the white-robed young man in his hand, who had a weak aura. His gaze was ice-cold, and in the next moment he swung his hand and threw him aside, knocking down several giant trees along the way. Don't worry, Fong Tianyi and the other disciples of the Fong family will accompany you soon. Bang! With a heavy palm strike, Xie Xuanji's expression was cold as he instantly killed the white-robed young man. His head was separated from his body, and blood splattered everywhere. Young master, they're all dead. These two Fong family team members were really weak. The highest cultivation level was only at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. Our brothers haven't had enough fun killing them yet. After finishing off the white-robed young man, a gray-clothed young man flew to Xie Xuanji's side and cupped his hands together. How are the results? Xie Xuanji ignored the gray-clothed young man's lament and said indifferently, "One of our brothers is dead, and another is lightly injured. We killed a total of 8 Fong family members, more than 10 mortal level monster cores, and points. Just this battle alone has already earned us more than 80 points. These guys are just giving us a wedding dress." After pausing for a moment, the gray-clothed young man spoke again with a respectful tone. "Very good, continue doing this. Inform the rest to remain on standby. Without my orders, they are not to act. In this hunting meet, I want the Fong family and the Wild Blade sect to suffer great losses. In the future, they won't be able to compete with our Xie family." With a cold smile, Xie Xuanji secretly clenched his fists, and a trace of ruthlessness and dominance appeared on his gloomy face. Different from the other participants, Xie Xuanji and his group's goal in this hunting meet was not to hunt monster cores. They only had one goal: to kill and rob. By killing the other teams, they could weaken the young backbone of the other forces and also obtain a large amount of monster cores points. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Although Xie Xuanji's idea was not bad, it was only limited to the Wild Blade sect, the Fong family, and some other small forces. It was useless against Fei Run. With Fei Ren's current strength, even if he was alone, he could easily wipe out any team. Although the strength of Xie Xuanji's team was not bad, other than Xie Xuanji himself, the other 3 could not even withstand a single blow from Fei Ren. After all, with the Yuan Qi cultivation of the 8th level of the body refinement realm, martial artists below the half-step middle unite realm did not have the qualifications to challenge Fei Ren. At the periphery of the Hengduan mountain range, Fei Ren's left foot was heavily stepping on the head of a giant monster. At this moment, Yuan Qi was circulating in his palm, and in the next moment he took out a shining silver monster core from the giant monster's head. "Fang Hui, you've broken through in your cultivation?" After collecting the spoils of war, Fei Run raised his eyes and looked at Fang Hui. The giant monster under his feet was a black-striped bear. The black-striped bear's magical energy was not high, barely reaching the middle mortal level. If it was not a trained Fang Hui, he could have killed it in one blow. Thanks to Brother Fei's care, I was lucky to break through. Heavily exhaling, Feng Hui wiped the sweat from his forehead. In the next moment, he suddenly stood up, and an abundant yuan qi aura swept out. Impressively, he had reached the 5th level of the body refinement realm. The strength of the dead black-striped bear in front of him was not bad, comparable to a human martial artist at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. However, it was heavily injured by Fei Run in one blow, and its magical energy was almost depleted. Naturally, it could not defeat Feng Hui and died. Originally, Fei Run planned to let this middle mortal-level black-striped bear go. After all, killing it would only give him 5 points. However, Feng Hui was on the verge of breaking through and urgently needed a battle to temper himself. For this reason, he did not mind doing him a favor. This black-striped bear was killed by you guys. Just as Fei Run and the rest were about to retreat, a strange male voice sounded out from the dense forest beside them. In the next moment, a few figures flashed out. The one in the lead was a youth with a goatee and a protruding mouth and ape-like cheeks. "Who are you?" Ignoring the young man with the goatee's question, Fei Ren's face was calm as he looked at the other party. "Impudent. Why aren't you kneeling and apologizing when you see young Master Song Yun?" Before he finished speaking, a guard-like man beside the young man with the goatee stepped forward and sternly scolded. "Song Yun?" Hearing this, Fei Ren's face was slightly doubtful. In Tinshui Town, other than the young elites of the 3 major factions, he had never heard of anyone else. "Brother Fei, this person is the young patriarch of the Song family, Song Yun. The Song family is also a third-rate faction, but their background is a little lacking. However, he has an elder sister who married into the Xie family. This guy also follows the example of a dog relying on its master's power, and has always been tyrannical in Tinshui Town." Coming to Fei Ren's side, Feng Hui explained in a low voice. He seemed to have recognized the young man with the goatee, and his face was serious. Chapter 48. "So you're the brother-in-law of the Xie family. No wonder you're so arrogant." Fei Ren's lips curled up. Although the Xie family was a second-rate power and had a good reputation in Tinshui Town, he was not afraid of them. In the depths of the Hengduan mountain range, there were only demonic beasts around. Even if Fei Ren killed Song Yun and the rest, the Xie family and Song family would not be able to find him. "Stinking brat, are you deaf?" Seeing that Fei Ren and Feng Hui were still unmoved, a male guard beside Song Yun unsheathed a large blade from his waist and released his origin chi. At the same time, he stepped forward aggressively. This male guard's cultivation level was at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, the same level as Feng Hui, who had just broken through. However, Feng Hui was the young master of the Feng clan who was born out of a concubine and had cultivated in the Iron Palm clan for many days, so his actual battle prowess was slightly stronger than his opponent. "Do you want to fight?" Seeing the male guard's aggressive appearance, Feng Hui's heart skipped a beat. He also unsheathed a large silver blade from his waist with a cautious expression. Although the silver blade in his hand was not a spirit treasure and could not be compared to Fei Ren's bee sting blade, it was still a top-grade weapon made from refined iron. It could also be infused with origin chi to increase the power of the weapon. It was priceless. Furthermore, although Song Yun and the others in front of him were menacing and harbored malicious intentions, their strength was not considered to be very strong. There were only a total of 6 people, and Song Yun's cultivation level was at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. The remaining 5 guards are all at the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Fei Ren could kill them with a flip of his hand. "So what if we fight? Do you think Feng Tianyi will come and save you? The Xie family is destined to dominate this hunting meet." Seeing Feng Hui's cautious face, Song Yun laughed out loud with disdain. It was as if Feng Hui and Fei Run were already turtles in a jar. Young patriarch's strength is extraordinary. How could he be controlled by the Xie family? Moreover, do you think that Li Long of the Wild Blade sect doesn't exist? Feng Hui clenched the weapon in his hand. Facing Song Yun's threat, his expression remained unchanged. "Idiots, since all of you are going to die anyway, this young master doesn't mind revealing some information to all of you. Curling his lips, Song Yun still had a look of disdain on his face as he continued. Feng Tianyi and his men have already been heavily surrounded by young Master Xieshuanji. They can't even protect themselves, and the rest of the Feng family's disciples won't be able to escape death. As for Li Long of the Mad Blade sect, that fellow is only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Now, that young Master Xieshuanji has already stepped into the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Once we deal with Feng Tianyi, that fellow won't be able to escape either. What? Xieshuanji has already broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement stage. Feng Hui was shocked when he heard this. The young patriarch of the Feng family, Feng Tianyi, and the young master of the Mad Blade sect, Li Long, were both at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Although they were not as strong as Xieshuanji, they were only slightly suppressed by the other party. Now, that Xieshuanji had successfully broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, it was hard to say what would happen. Every year, young disciples from various factions would participate in the hunting meet, and most of them were elites. If Feng Tianyi and Li Long were killed, the Feng family and the Mad Blade sect would be greatly weakened, and the Xie family would take the lead and become the overlord of Tianshui Town. I heard that you were called Feng Hui, a concubine son of the Feng family. This young master can give you a chance to live today. As long as you kill the brat beside you as proof of your allegiance, this young master will spare your life. After sizing up Fei Run, who was beside Feng Hui, Song Yin suddenly revealed a crafty smile as he opened his mouth to speak. Dream on. Without any hesitation, Feng Hui waved his blade and pointed it at Song Yun, his eyes full of fighting spirit. So the Xie family had such a good plan, but it's a pity that they have miscalculated. Hearing this, Fei Ren more or less understood the Xie family's ambition. They wanted to use the hunting meet as a pretext to severely damage the Feng family and the Mad Blade sect strength in order to dominate Tianshui Town. All right, it's about time to send you guys to hell. Stretching his waist, Fei Ren's face was languid, and he looked at Song Yun and the others in front of him. Brat, who the hell are you? You sure talk big. You're looking for death. Seeing Fei Ren's calm attitude, the guards beside Song Yun were enraged. In the next moment, they all took out their weapons and slashed at Fei Ren. 100 snake hands. Without using any weapons, Fei Ren's body flashed and dodged the attacks of the guards. Then, he jumped into the air and raised his hand to shoot out a few fierce snake shadows. The fierce snake shadows were mixed with rolling elemental energy, and they instantly strangled the guards on the ground. Bang! The fierce snake shadows pierced through the air, and with a few howls, the guards at the 5th level of the body refinement realm were strangled to death by the snake shadows. In the next moment, their bodies fell heavily to the ground as blood flowed endlessly. Instant kill in one move. Now that Fei Ren's elemental energy cultivation had reached the 8th level of the body refinement realm, his overall strength was comparable to that of a half step into the middle unity realm. Those below the 8th level of the body refinement realm could not even withstand one move from him. Facing these guards who were only at the 5th level of the body refinement realm, he naturally killed them with a wave of his hand. You. Seeing his own subordinates being killed by Fei Run in one move, the originally arrogant and despotic Song Yun's face changed greatly. His body went limp and he fell to the ground. His pants were soaked in blood, as if he was so scared that he peed on the spot. Who the hell are you? Song Yun's voice trembled as he looked at the calm and collected Fei Run in front of him. Song Yun's face was deathly pale and his lips were slightly purple. His cultivation was only at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. If the other party could kill all his subordinates in one move, then naturally he could also easily kill him. The person who will kill you. Hearing this, Fei Ren's face was filled with killing intent. In the next moment, he slowly walked towards Song Yun, the elemental energy in his palms surging. Brother Fei's strength has increased by quite a bit. Oh my god, this is a monster. Seeing this scene, Fong Hui's eyes were wide open and his face was filled with shock. Don't kill me. I am the young master of the Song clan. The Xie clan and I are close friends through marriage. If you kill me, the Xie clan and Song clan will definitely not let you off. You will still have to die. Seeing Fei Rin's body surrounded by killing intent, Song Yun, who was facing a life and death situation, completely panicked. He immediately cried out in a panic, and in the next moment, he turned around and fled towards the dense forest behind him, intending to escape from this place. Die! Without any hesitation, Fei Rin raised his hand and flung out a stream of elemental energy that instantly pierced through Song Yun's back. Song Yun's heart meridians were completely shattered and blood splattered everywhere. Song Yun also fell to the ground, completely dead. Brother Fei, now that the Xie clan is full of ambition, what should our next step be? Although he had dealt with Song Yun and the others, the stone in Fong Hui's heart still hadn't been lifted, and he said in a deep voice, "One word, kill. Since Xie Xuanji wants to play a game of killing, then we'll play with them." The title of the champion of this hunting meet, this young master can't easily give it to him. After collecting the items left behind by Song Yun and the others, Fei Rin's face was as calm as water, as if he had already expected this situation. Chapter 49. Brother Fong, if you don't want to get involved in this mess, you can back out. As if seeing through Fong Hui's concerns, Fei Rin spoke again. That's not it. Although I don't have deep feelings for the Fong family is the family that raised me. If I allow the Xie family to wantonly kill the Fong family's disciples, I won't be able to bear it. Moreover, Xie Xuanji has wild ambitions. He wants to kill the Fong family and the wild blade sect disciples in one fell swoop. How can I let him succeed so easily? After hesitating for a moment, Fong Hui finally swept away his worries and said through gritted teeth, "You're a man. Let's go. We should be able to meet people from other factions nearby. As long as they're in cahoots with the Xie family, we'll kill them all." Fei Rin patted Fong Hui's shoulder and grinned. He had wanted to kill for a long time, but he didn't have the chance. The refining Immortal Cauldron's function was to devour and refine all things. Compared to devouring the bodies of magical beasts, the body of a human martial artist contained more essence. Even without the help of vitality stones, Fei Rin's cultivation would increase faster as long as he killed more people. This was the power of the refining Immortal Cauldron. When he had just killed Song Yun and the others, Fei Rin had secretly released the Immortal Refining Cauldron to absorb the remaining essence of Song Yun and the others' corpses while Fong Hui was not paying attention. Unfortunately, these people's cultivation levels were too low. Even if he absorbed all of them, it only increased his essence by a little. Xie Xuanji is at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. If I can kill him, not only will I be able to greatly damage the Xie family's vitality, but I will also be able to increase my cultivation by quite a bit. Devouring a martial artist at the 9th level of the body refinement realm is far more worthwhile than devouring dozens of martial artists at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement realm. Secretly comforting himself, Fei Rin also flew into the depths of the mountain range, as light as a swallow. The magical beasts nearby had already been killed by the other teams, and there were no traces of the Xie family's team or Xie Xuanji. Therefore, the two of them could only explore the depths of the mountain range. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The leaves on both sides swayed as Fei Rin and Fong Hui's figures shuttled through the dense forest at lightning speed. Brother Fei, if we go any further, we'll be out of the hunting range. Moreover, the chances of encountering a high-level magical beast will greatly increase. Looking around, Fong Hui suddenly reminded them. He seemed to have some understanding of the surrounding terrain. Because the location of the hunting meet was located in the Hengduan mountain range, for the sake of safety and to reduce the probability of encountering high-level magical beasts, every hunting meet would set a hunting range of about 500 miles. However, in order to obtain more points, some small teams would ignore the rules and head into the depths of the mountain range to hunt magical beasts. Don't worry, as long as we don't encounter any yellow rank magical beasts. Mere mortal rank magical beasts won't be able to hurt us. Moreover, mortal rank magical beasts generally don't have high intelligence. Even if they can't beat us, they can still run away. Fei Run waved his hand dismissively at Fong Hui's reminder. Now that his strength was comparable to a half-step Middle Union realm martial artist, he was indeed confident. Moreover, Fong Hui, who was beside Fei Run, might not have a high cultivation, but his movement technique and speed were not bad. He was not inferior to a martial artist at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. He was also an escape expert. Roar. Not long after, a huge beast roar suddenly came from the mountain range. In the next moment, Fei Ren and Fong Hui stopped in their tracks with different expressions. This beast roar. It's a crimson spirit tiger. Something must have intruded into its territory. Fong Hui frowned and said in a deep voice, "Could it be that we've been discovered?" The crimson spirit tiger was impulsive and cruel by nature. It was the offspring of a crimson flame tiger and a spirit leopard. An adult crimson spirit tiger was at least a yellow rank magical beast. Its magic power was not inferior to a Middle Union realm martial artist. Its strength was valiant, and the crimson spirit tiger had a very strong sense of territory. No, it's other magical beasts that have intruded into this beast territory. We're about 10 miles away from the source of the beast roar. Even if this beast has a dog's nose, it wouldn't be that sensitive. Shaking his head, Fei Ren said calmly. He seemed to have some understanding of magical beasts like the crimson spirit tiger. Let's go take a look. After patting Fong Hui's shoulder, Fei Ren once again flew out and ran towards the source of the beast roar. "Brother Fei, wait for me." Seeing Fei Ren fly out like an arrow, Fong Hui was stunned for a moment. Then, he gritted his teeth and followed closely behind. Rumble. In front of a cliff waterfall, two huge magical beasts were fighting fiercely. The magic power in the surroundings was sweeping and raging. From time to time, one or two giant trees would fall and turn into dust. The scene was a mess. One of the magical beasts had a fiery red body and a long, iron whip-like tail behind it. It was the yellow rank magical beast, Crimson Spirit Tiger. The Crimson Spirit Tiger in front of him seemed to have just reached adulthood, and its magic power fluctuations were not strong. It was only at the low level of the yellow rank, and its strength was no different from a human martial artist at the 2nd or 3rd stage of the Middle Union boundary. Opposite, it was a similarly ferocious, lion-shaped magic beast with golden hair standing on end. The lion-shaped magical beast had sharp claws and a pair of muddy yellow eyes, but it was filled with a murderous and domineering aura. Its magic power had also reached the low yellow rank and was not weaker than the Crimson Spirit Tiger opposite it. It was like a scene of two heroes fighting. Yellow rank magical beast, golden fur lion. So it was this guy who trespassed into its territory. No wonder the Crimson Spirit Tiger went crazy. After a while, Fei Ren and Fong Hui also hurried over. Hundreds of meters away, the two of them used the cover of the forest leaves to look at the fierce battle between the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the lion-shaped magical beast. The Crimson Spirit Tiger and the lion-shaped magical beast were fighting fiercely and did not notice the two of them quietly approaching. The Golden Fur Lion's magic power is comparable to the Crimson Spirit Tiger's. Brother Fei, when both of them are injured, we can reap the benefits. Fong Hui's gaze was fixed on the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion not far away. His eyes shone with a fiery light. Roar! In front of the cliff waterfall, the Crimson Spirit Tiger roared again. The Crimson Spirit Tiger instantly broke free from the other party's entanglement and bit off a handful of the Golden Fur Lion's mixed fur. Immediately, a piece of flesh was exposed and blood flowed nonstop. The Golden Fur Lion roared angrily and raised its hand to slap the Crimson Spirit Tiger far away. Bang! The Crimson Spirit Tiger's body fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, a trace of blood slowly flowed down from its back. It seemed that the Crimson Spirit Tiger was not in a good state after being hit by the Golden Fur Lion's angry claw. Its injuries were not light, and the magic power on its body had weakened slightly. Roar! Roar! They did not stop for a moment. Although both of them were injured, the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion pounced on each other again. The battle was intense and anxious. Why are these two beasts so desperate? Looking at the Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion who were engaged in a fierce battle not far away, Feng Hui was puzzled and puzzled. Although the Crimson Spirit Tiger was very territorial and would not rest until it was dead, he still felt that something was wrong. The Crimson Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion in front of him seemed to have other motives. It was not as simple as just killing each other. That's right, it's medicinal herbs. Or should I say spiritual herbs? As soon as he finished speaking, Fei Run, who had not spoken for a long time, faintly said. At the same time, his gaze swept around and finally landed on a strange bright red flower at the top of the waterfall opposite the cliff. His face looked thoughtful. Chapter 50. If Fei Run was not mistaken, the strange bright red flower at the peak of the waterfall across the cliff was the rare Nine Suns flower. The Nine Suns flower was a third-grade medicinal herb. Its petals could be used to refine pills, and its roots could also be directly swallowed. It could enhance a martial artist's five senses, achieving the effect of hearing and seeing. It could be called a rare spirit herb, and this was also the reason why Fei Run was so surprised. The Scarlet Spirit Tiger and Golden Fur Lion in front of the waterfall were clearly aiming for the Nine Suns flower at the peak of the waterfall, and not for some territorial battle. Although the intelligence of magical beasts was not high, they were not stupid and would not fight to the death with their opponents for no reason. It should be the Nine Suns flower without a doubt, and it is very old, at least 100 years old. Once again, certain in his heart, Fei Rin spoke unhurriedly, his tone revealing a trace of surprise. Nine Suns flower? Hearing this, Feng Hui also revealed a look of surprise, his tone shocked as he said, I heard that the Nine Suns flower is a third-grade medicinal ingredient and is priceless. If a stock of Nine Suns flower appears on the black market, it will be sold out in less than half a day. And this thing can't even be bought with low-grade spirit stones. It can only be exchanged with low-grade spirit stones with a higher amount of spirit power. Seemingly also knowing the wonders of the Nine Suns flower, Feng Hui's mouth was slightly agape as he sighed. That's right. How can such a treasure be wasted in the hands of these two mixed-haired beasts? It's simply a waste. Nodding, Fei Ren's face revealed a cold smile. Brother Fei, when do you plan to make a move? These two magical beasts are very strong. I'm afraid I can't help much. Seeing that Fei Ren was also interested in the Nine Suns flower, Feng Hui immediately restrained his expression and said weakly in a low voice. He had just broken through to the 5th level of the body refinement realm not long ago, and dealing with a common rank middle-grade magical beast was already his limit. If he encountered a common rank high grade magical beast, he would only be able to deal with a few moves, not to mention the Scarlet Spirit Tiger and Golden Fur Lion in front of him. They were both yellow rank, low-grade magical beasts, comparable to middle Unity Realm experts. Feng Hui was naturally not a match for them. Brother Feng, you don't have to do anything. Just help me guard the surroundings and see if there are any traces of other teams. I'll deal with these two bastards on my own. Fei Ren was naturally aware of Feng Hui's strength. He extended his hand and patted Feng Hui's shoulder. In the next moment, his body shot out and directly charged out of the dense forest. Clearly, he did not intend to hide at all and chose to directly face Feng Hui head-on. Although it was a 1 versus 2 battle, the Scarlet Spirit Tiger and Golden Fur Lion had both suffered heavy injuries. They were no longer at their peak state. Their demonic energy had decreased by a lot, barely reaching the level of half-step Middle Union boundary. With the divine Immortal refining cauldron, the Grade 1 Spirit Treasure Wasp Bayonet, and several Grade 2 martial techniques in addition to his stable cultivation at the 8th level of the body refinement stage, Ren was confident that he could kill the crimson spirit tiger and golden fur lion before him. Even if he couldn't, he could still retreat unscathed. Bastard, I can't leave this 9 suns flower to you. I want it. Holding the wasp bayonet in his hand, Ren pointed it at the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion not far from him and sneered. Roar! Seeing Ren suddenly appear, the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion, who were entangled in a fierce battle, also retreated to the side. A pair of beast eyes were staring at Ren like a tiger eyeing its prey. In the next moment, they suddenly changed their target and rushed towards Ren, their demonic energy wreaking havoc. Quite smart, unfettered slash. Seeing the scarlet spirit tiger and golden fur mad lion rushing towards him as if they had a tacit understanding, Ren had already expected it. The wasp bayonet in his hand heavily slashed forward. In an instant, dozens of snow-white blade chi burst out from the blade and similarly attacked the vital points of the two beasts, causing gusts of wind to howl. The unfettered slash was the killing move of the Grade 2 martial technique, the unfettered blade technique. Although Ren had only cultivated it to the initial stage, with the addition of his Grade 8 body refinement stage origin force, its power was infinitely close to a Grade 3 martial technique. It was extremely shocking. Bang! Rumble! The blade chi swept across the air. The heavily injured scarlet spirit tiger roared, and then lifted its claws to shatter several blade chi. However, there were still a few blade chi that broke through its defense and ruthlessly smashed into the scarlet spirit tiger's lower body. Instantly, blood spurted out, and the scarlet spirit tiger howled miserably. Rumble! The scarlet spirit tiger's huge beast body crashed onto the ground. Although it still had a trace of life, it had already completely lost its ability to fight. On the other hand, the golden fur mad lion on the other side, although it was able to withstand Ren's attack, it was also heavily injured. Traces of blood flowed down from the beast's body. There's still one more. After killing the scarlet spirit tiger in one move, Ren also changed his attack. He brandished his blade and attacked the golden fur mad lion on the other side. Although the unfettered blade technique's power was not bad, it consumed a lot of origin force. Ren's current cultivation was at the 8th level of the body refinement stage. With his current amount of origin force, he could not frequently use the unfettered slash. At most, he could use it 4 or 5 times before his origin force was completely depleted. Therefore, he needed to end the battle quickly. Monster, not far away, on the treetop of a huge tree, Fong Hui's eyes could not help but widen as he watched Ren single-handedly fight 2 large yellow rank magical beasts. He had an expression of disbelief and shock. Although the scarlet spirit tiger and the golden fur mad lion had suffered many injuries from their fierce battle and had less than half of their magic power left, they were still dignified, low-level yellow rank magical beasts. They were comparable to human middle-level experts. Now, they were actually being suppressed by Ren single-handedly. They truly did not have any face. Roar! Seeing the scarlet spirit tiger fall to the ground, the golden fur mad lion was completely enraged. Its eyes were red, and in the next moment, it let out a long roar and released a large amount of magic power. At the same time, it raised its sharp claws and attacked Ren. A huge tail like an iron whip swept towards Ren's neck, intending to fight to the death. Useless struggle. 100 snake hands. Carefree slash. Seeing the golden fur mad lion pouncing towards him, Ren's face was solemn. In the next moment, his left hand blasted out dozens of mournful snake shadows. At the same time, the wasp blade in his right hand slashed out diagonally, slashing out an even more powerful snow-white blade aura. The blade aura wreaked havoc, causing people to feel pain on their cheeks. Bang! Rumble! The mournful snake shadows streaked across the sky and instantly forced the golden fur mad lion to retreat. In the next moment, the snow-white blade aura rapidly attacked and chopped off its huge head. Immediately, fresh blood spurted out in all directions. The golden fur mad lion that had lost its head fell to the ground with a loud bang. It did not even let out a mournful cry and was completely motionless. Although he did not block the golden fur mad lion's tail sweep, Fei Rin had cultivated the black tortoise longevity scripture. His skin could summon the black tortoise armor at will. The golden fur mad lion's counterattack before it died naturally could not hurt him. At most, it would consume some of his origin energy. After killing the golden fur mad lion, Fei Rin did not let go of the dying scarlet spirit tiger on the other side. He immediately flew over and cleanly chopped off the scarlet spirit tiger's head. These were all his spoils of war. The big hunting meat did not have any rules about how many points one could get by killing a low-level yellow rank magical beast. After all, no one had ever done it, and no one had the luck to do so. However, with just the heads of these two magical beasts, Fei Rin was confident that his points were already first in the entire competition. No one could beat him. I've finally dealt with these two beasts. The Nine Suns flower is mine. After cleaning up the remaining magical beast corpses, Fei Rin also leaped and arrived at the peak of the cliff waterfall. At the same time, he reached out and plucked the grade 3 Nine Suns flower. His face was filled with joy. Chapter 51. Let's see if there are any demon cores in these two beasts. After putting the Nine Suns flower into his spirit ring, Fei Rin opened up the abdomen of the crimson spiritual tiger and the golden fur lion. After searching for a while, he found that there were no demon cores in the golden fur lion's body. Instead, he found something in the crimson spiritual tiger's body. He took out a crimson, crystal-like demon core. A demon core of a low-level yellow, rank demon beast. This time I'm rich. Looking at the crimson, crystal-like demon core lying quietly in his palm, Fei Rin was overjoyed. After all, a yellow rank demon core was different from a mortal rank demon core. Its value was much higher than the latter. A low-level yellow rank demon core could be exchanged for a low-grade primordial stone. It was very rare. In the world of martial artists, 100 low-grade primordial stones could be exchanged for a low-grade primordial stone. Moreover, it was usually priceless. A low-grade primordial stone contained a lot more primordial energy than a low-grade primordial stone. It was enough to show how rare it was. Now, Fei Rin had picked up a 100-year-old Nine Suns flower for free. Adding the spoils of war he had obtained from killing Song Yun and the others, as well as the demon core of the crimson spirit tiger in front of him, his wealth had skyrocketed by several times. The only two low-rank spirit rings he had on hand were also stuffed to the brim, leaving no space for other items. In order to put the valuable materials and bones of the crimson spiritual tiger and the golden fur lion into the spirit ring, Fei Rin even threw away some of his clothes and miscellaneous items in the spirit ring. He used all of them to store his spoils. Brother Fei, your strength is more than several times stronger than before. At this time, Feng Hui, who was watching the battle not far away, also flew over with a shocked expression. Although he did not get any benefits, it was still very rare to be able to witness such a fierce battle. After all, Fei Rin fought two low-level yellow rank demon beasts by himself. This kind of scene was hard to come by even in 10 years. It's a small matter. Now that the space in my spirit ring is full, Brother Feng, you and I are in the same team. I don't want to take all the benefits. The spoils in this spirit ring belong to you. With a slight smile, Fei Rin took off a low-level spirit ring and handed it over to Feng Hui. This low-level spiritual ring contained the magic nuclei and materials that Fei Rin had obtained from killing demonic beasts over the past few days, as well as some of the belongings that Song Yun and the others had left behind. Although the value of these items was not as valuable as the corpses of two low-level yellow-rank demonic beasts, it was still not a small amount. Thank you, Brother Fei. I hope nothing bad will happen. Nodding his head, Zhang Xian put away the spirit ring with a grave expression. At this moment, there was less than half of the time left until the end of the big hunting meet. Fei Rin had already killed two low-level yellow rank magical beasts and had more than enough points. There was no need for him to go around looking for magical beasts to kill. He only needed to pick up the leftovers. Someone's coming. His ears twitching slightly, Fei-Ren restrained his expression and looked towards the dense forest in the northeast. Just a moment ago, Fei-Ren suddenly sensed that there were a few origin energy fluctuations that weren't weak approaching this place. Moreover, their speed was extremely fast, and they would arrive in front of the cliff and waterfall in less than 30 minutes. As for whether they were friends or foes, Fei-Ren wasn't too sure. Is it the Sief family? Or is it the young clan leader and the rest? Hearing this, Fang Hui's face was also filled with caution. I'm not sure. Let's hide first. Shaking his head, Fei-Ren's figure leapt into the air onto a nearby treetop and then hid behind layers of leaves. He held his breath and concentrated, minimizing his origin energy fluctuations to the minimum. Swoosh! Seeing this, Fang Hui gritted his teeth and also leapt into a treetop, not making a sound. A few minutes later, a few figures also emerged from the dense forest and arrived in front of the cliff and waterfall. Strange, I clearly heard fighting and beast roars here just now. A soft voice sounded out, and in the next moment, a short-haired young man wearing yellow robes stepped out with a puzzled expression. The short-haired young man had a long blade at his waist, and the aura around his body was not weak. He had already reached the 7th level of the body refinement stage. It was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, Li Long. It's Li Long. When he saw who it was, Fang Hui, who was hiding in the dark, exclaimed in a low voice. Li Long was the young master of the Wild Blade sect, and his strength was not weak. He was able to fight evenly with the young clan leader of the Fang family, Fang Tianyi, and was only slightly weaker than Xie Xuanji. The team that Li Long was in was also one of the main forces of this year's hunting meet. So it's him. This guy must have been attracted by the fierce battle between the Scarlet Spirit Tiger and the Golden Fur Lion. Not only Fang Hui, but Fei-Ren also recognized the identity of the newcomer, and his face was slightly surprised. Young master, come over here and take a look. There are traces of blood that have yet to dry. It was not left behind by a human martial artist. At this moment, a Wild Blade sect disciple beside him also exclaimed in surprise. At this moment, his gaze was fixed on the pool of blood on the ground, as if he had discovered something. The team that Li Long was in was not small, about 6 to 7 people. Every one of them was at least at the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Such a team was not weak in the hunting meet. Other than the Fang family and the Xie family, no other forces dared to provoke them. That's right, it's the blood of a magical beast. Moreover, there is still a trace of elemental energy fluctuation here. There must have been a great battle here before, and it should have been done by another team. Unfortunately, it seems that we are too late. Leaning forward, Li Long's eyes narrowed as he said lightly. Originally, he wanted to see if he could pick up some scraps, but now it was too late. Not only did he not even see the shadow of a magical beast, he did not even need to talk about other human martial artists. Brother Li, long time no see. Suddenly, a long laugh came from the dense forest beside him. In the next moment, Fei-Ren leaped and arrived in front of Li Long and the others. Who is it? Who are you? With a loud shout, the Wild Blade sect disciples around Li Long all pulled out their weapons. Obviously, they did not know whether Fei-Ren was a friend or foe. Brother Fei-Ren, I didn't expect you to be here too. Seeing Fei-Ren suddenly appear, Li Long was also stunned for a moment. In the next moment, he waved his hand and signaled his subordinates to put down their weapons. I happened to pass by and took care of a few magical beasts. Brother Li, on the other hand, you seem to have encountered some trouble. With a slight smile, Fei-Ren said meaningfully. According to what he knew, there were at least 20 Wild Blade sect disciples participating in the great hunting meet. Now that there were less than 8 people left beside Li Long, it was obvious that there was something else going on. In addition, he had heard from Song Yun and the others about the Xie family scheme, so Fei-Ren was even more certain in his heart. Brother Fei is indeed a strange person. That's right, I have indeed encountered some trouble. Hearing this, Li Long's face changed slightly, and then slowly said, Although he had sent out a sect gathering order, there were very few wild blade sect disciples who rushed over after hearing the news. It seemed that they had encountered some trouble on the way, which was also the reason why Li Long felt uneasy. If there are no accidents, the other wild blade sect disciples should have already been killed. Moreover, the Fong family is also in a similar situation. That grandson Xie Xuanji should be planning to defeat us one by one. Before he finished speaking, Fei Ren opened his mouth again. Although Fong Tiany's cultivation base was not weak, he was still not Xie Xuanji's opponent. His defeat was only a matter of time. Now that Xie Xuanji had broken through to the 9th level of the body refinement realm, no one here other than Fei Ren could be his opponent. The Xie family and Xie Xuanji have wild ambitions, trying to dominate Tianshui town. Previously, we were intercepted by the Song family disciples. At this time, Fong Hui, who was originally hiding, stood up and said in a serious tone, "After all, the Song family and the Xie family had always been in an alliance. You are from the Fong family?" Seeing Fei Ren and Fong Hui walking together, Li Long suddenly understood why Fei Ren rejected his invitation. His name is Fong Hui, a concubine son of the Fong family. He is also my junior brother. Retracting his gaze, Fei Ren spoke again indifferently, at the same time looking at Li Long opposite him. Brotherly, the Xie family and Xie Xuanji's ambition is very obvious. Only by joining hands can we thwart their scheme. Chapter 52. Damn it, that bastard Xie Xuanji dared to lay his hands on my Mad Blade Sect's disciples. Fei Ren's words caused Li Long's face to turn red. It was obvious that he was enraged as his tone became harsh. Although his cultivation was only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm, and his overall strength was inferior to Xie Xianji's, but to have someone brazenly ride on his head and behave atrociously while he couldn't even make a sound, with Li Long's personality, he was obviously unable to do so. If he could tolerate it, what couldn't? Brother Li Long, as long as we work together and rescue the young patriarch, no matter how strong Xie Xuanji and the Xie family are, they won't be able to do anything to us. At the side, Fong Hui saw that Li Long was enraged and stepped forward to add fuel to the fire. That's right. Although Xie Xuanji is strong, I have a way to stop him. As long as you and Fong Tiany can deal with the rest of the Xie family, this hunting meet will be the burial ground of the Xie family's disciples. Clenching his right hand into a fist, Fei Ren smiled coldly, as if he had already made up his mind. Brother Fei, you've become stronger again. Seeing Fei Ren's confident appearance, Li Long's face froze for a moment before he exclaimed in a low voice. Previously, he had not noticed that Fei Ren's cultivation had already reached the 8th level of the body refinement stage, and was even stronger than half a month ago. Brotherly, there's not much time left. Ignoring Li Long's shock, Fei Ren said in a deep voice, "Young master, logically speaking, the other brothers should have come to meet us after receiving the news. However, there's no news from them. It's possible that they have already." At this time, a young Mad Blade sect disciple stepped forward with an ugly expression. "Yes, young master, it must be the Xie family's doing. 20 years ago, when the sect master came to Tianshui town to establish the Wild Blade sect, the Xie family had been eyeing the Wild Blade sect covetously. The other brothers must have been killed by them. Young sect master, we must avenge our dead brothers." Not only one person, the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples also spoke in unison. Their faces were filled with righteous indignation, as if they were brave warriors who had just left the mountains. "Let's do it. Xie Xuanji has gone too far. I'm going to use his head as a sacrifice to the brothers of the Mad Blade sect. Brother Fei, tell me, what should we do next?" Seeing this scene, Li Long, who was originally hesitating, coldly snorted and immediately made his decision. Although Xie Xuanji's strength wasn't bad and his essence force cultivation had already reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm, he had already teamed up with Fei Ren, and Fei Ren's cultivation was at the 8th level of the body refinement realm. If they were able to successfully rescue Fong Tianyi under the joint forces of the three parties, even Xie Xuanji would have to temporarily avoid them. If his luck wasn't good, he might even die. There's no hurry. There's still half a day before the end of the hunt. Right now, we need to find out where Xie Xuanji and Fong Tianyi are. Fei Ren waved his hand and muttered to himself. It's going to be a little difficult. We've only encountered some small forces along the way. We haven't found any trace of the Xie family's disciples, let alone Xie Xuanji. He must be hiding with his people, waiting for an opportunity to kill our Mad Blade sect's disciples. Shaking his head, Li Long's face was solemn. For this hunt, the Xie family, Fong family, and Mad Blade sect each sent over 20 young juniors to participate. They accounted for 70% of the total number of participants. The rest were the disciples of small forces like the Song family. Isn't it easy to catch their tongues? The Song family and the Xie family have always been close friends. Capture 2 Song family disciples and interrogate them. Find out where the Xie family's people are and then kill them. Catch them off guard and don't leave a single one alive. Fei Ren said with a slight smile. His handsome face revealed a trace of viciousness. Wonderful. This is a wonderful plan. Brother Fei, let's do it. Hearing Fei Ren's plan, Li Long also deeply agreed and then repeatedly agreed. The relationship between the Song family and the Xie family was well known among the many forces in Tianshui town. In this hunt, other than the dead Song Yun, there were many other Song family disciples who participated. With Fei Ren's methods, capturing 2 Song family disciples for interrogation was naturally not a problem. Move. Heavily punching the ground, Fei Ren's face was as resolute as iron. Hengduan Mountain Range, in front of a nameless valley. Xie Xuanji, do you really want to shed all pretense of cordiality with our Fong family? A green-clothed man was holding a long sword. At this moment, his green clothes were covered in blood, and his face was extremely pale. He seemed to have suffered heavy injuries. If someone passed by at this moment, they would be shocked to find that this green-clothed man was the current young master of the Fong family, Fong Tianyi. At this moment, Fong Tianyi's injuries were severe. Around him were corpses, as if he had experienced an intense battle. Moreover, most of those who had died were Fong family disciples. Only 2 or 3 Fong family disciples who were lucky enough to survive surrounded him, trying to make a final struggle. Shed all pretense of cordiality? With just your Fong family? Your Fong family is just a mere third-rate force. What ability do you have to compete with our Xie family? Fong Tianyi, today, this place will be your burial ground. Not far away, Xie Xuanji coldly laughed, his tone full of disdain. Chapter 53. What? Kill the young patriarch. Hearing this, the young Fong family disciple's face was filled with shock. In the next moment, he looked at Fong Tianyi beside him. His hand that was holding the weapon trembled slightly, as if he was afraid. Fool! Seeing that the Fong family disciple beside him was shaken, Fong Tianyi shouted with a gloomy face. This person has always been sinister and cunning. His words can't be trusted. Right now we are surrounded. This is just his plan to drive the tiger to swallow the wolf. That's right. Even if we die in battle, we can't be traitors to the clan. Protect the dignity of the Fong family. Protect the young patriarch. Hearing this, the other 2 Fong family disciples who were lucky enough to survive also came to their senses. They tightened their grip on their weapons and shouted in unison. Young patriarch, the young Fong family disciple, who was originally shaken, gritted his teeth. In the next moment, his eyes were filled with determination again. The Xie family is our mortal enemy. They won't let us go. You're right. Let's fight to the death. That's right. Only by burning the boats can we have a chance of survival. Fight to the death with these Xie family bastards. Avenge our dead brothers. Seeing that the Fong family disciples beside him had a common enemy and were filled with fighting spirit again, Fong Tianyi's expression was firm as he shouted in a deep voice. Incorrigible. Seeing that Fong Tianyi and the others were unwilling to surrender, Xie Xuanji shook his head in disdain. In the next moment, origin power surged in his palms, and his body suddenly shot out, pointing at one of the Fong family disciples. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Evil spirit palm. With a stern shout, Xie Xuanji raised his hand and blasted out a black palm energy. The palm energy was mixed with Yuan power, and it instantly transformed into a roaring evil spirit shadow. In the next instant, it wrapped around the injured Fong family disciple opposite him. Not good. Seeing that Xie Xuanji had attacked again, Fong Tianyi's expression changed drastically. He was about to stop him, but it was too late. The evil spirit shadow was like an unstoppable ghost, instantly swallowing the Fong family disciple. Then it exploded. The Fong family disciple only had time to let out a blood-curdling scream before his entire body was smashed into a bloody pulp. His corpse was nowhere to be seen, and only a pool of blood was left behind. Xie Xuanji, I will kill you. Seeing Xie Xuanji instantly kill a disciple of the Fong family, Fong Tianyi's face flushed red with rage. He clenched his teeth and let out a gurgling sound. His deep eyes were filled with unconcealable killing intent. Originally, the Fong clan and the Xie clan had been in conflict with each other. However, both sides had been restraining themselves over the years. They had only fought in secret, and there had never been a situation where they would fight to the death. However, Xie Xuanji's actions had completely torn off all pretenses. It could be said that he had declared war. This aura, it really is Xie Xuanji. Outside the nameless valley, a gray figure flashed through the dense forest. The next moment, he slowly landed on a treetop outside the valley. At the same time, a handsome face with a calm expression was revealed. It was Fei Run who had just left. Brother Fei, what's the situation? A few breaths later, a few more silhouettes quietly crept up. It was none other than Li Long, Fong Hui, and the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples. Xie Xuanji is in the valley ahead. There are about 20 of them. If I'm not mistaken, Fong Tianyi and the others should be inside as well. However, their auras are very weak. I don't think they can hold on for much longer. Looking back at Li Long, Fei Rin said calmly, All right, let's kill our way in and settle the score with that bastard Xie Xuanji. Hearing this, Li Long coldly snorted and was about to rush out of the forest in the next moment. However, he was stopped by Fei Rin with a furious expression. Brother Li, don't worry. You guys just need to guard the entrance of the valley. I'll go meet Xie Xuanji. As for the remaining Xie clan lackeys, they will naturally come out obediently when the time comes. At that time, you guys can kill them all. After stopping Li Long, Fei Rin said calmly, as if he already had a plan in mind. All right, although that bastard Xie Xuanji's character is not good, his strength is indeed above mine. I can only rely on Brother Fei. After speaking, Li Long hesitated for a moment before heavily nodding his head. Currently, he did not have many people with him. Only a few Wild Blade sect disciples were following him. Beside him, Fong Hui's strength was not considered top-notch. In the valley, other than Xie Xuanji, there was also a group of Xie clan disciples. Putting aside their strength, they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Xie Xuanji, this young master will see what ability you have. Fei Rin's figure flew out and rushed towards the valley in the next moment. His face was as firm as steel. In the nameless valley, Xie Xuanji's figure continuously shuttled through the crowd. Every time he attacked, a Fong clan disciple would fall to the ground without any resistance. In a short while, the few surviving Fong clan disciples around Fong Tianyi were all killed. For a moment, blood flowed like a river and corpses were everywhere. Fong Tianyi, you are the only one left now. Are you in despair? Xie Xuanji withdrew his hand and stood. Rolling Yuan power wrapped around his body. His gaze once again looked at Fong Tianyi opposite him as he spoke in a mocking tone. Cough, cough. Am I, Fong Tianyi, going to lose my life here today? The long sword in his hand was stabbed into the ground as Fong Tianyi forcefully propped his body up. His face was pale, and the Yuan power aura on his body was declining. He was not even at the 5th level of the body refinement stage. After an intense battle, although he had forcefully blocked the attacks of numerous Xie clan disciples, the injuries on his body had worsened. Furthermore, there was not much Yuan power left in his body, and he could not free himself to stop Xie Xuanji. The Fang clan disciples beside him were all dead, and he was the only one left. Die! Yuan power surged in Xie Xuanji's left palm as an evil spirit shadow appeared, intending to deal a fatal blow to the other party. Xie Xuanji, so many people attacking one person. Don't you have any shame? At this moment, a mocking voice rang out from afar. In the next moment, Fei Ren's figure streaked across the sky. In the end, he slowly landed in front of Xie Xuanji and the others. His face was calm and composed, and there was no lack of ridicule in his eyes. Who are you? Seeing Fei Ren's sudden attack, Xie Xuanji's body turned sluggish. In the next moment, the Yuan power in his left palm slowly dissipated. His face was as dark as stagnant water. He could sense a Yuan power aura on Fei Ren's body that was not weaker than his own. The person who will take your life, patting the dust off his body. Fei Ren's eyes were filled with killing intent. No matter who you are, you can't stop me. Whether it's the Fang clan or the Madblade sect, from today onwards, you will cease to exist. Everyone attack. Kill this brat. Seeing Fei Ren's ferocious approach, Xie Xuanji laughed out loud. His sinister face was filled with madness. Charge! Kill this brat, and young Master Xie will reward you greatly. Just as the words left his mouth, the Xie clan disciples that were surrounding Fang Tianyi also charged towards Fei Ren. In an instant, Yuan power swept out, and countless attacks fell on Fei Ren's body. There were all kinds of attacks, and their momentum was impressive. A bunch of trash. Facing everyone's attacks, Fei Ren stood still with his hands behind his back. His face was calm, as if he had no intention of dodging. The strongest among the Xie clan disciples in front of him was only at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Most of them were at the 5th or 6th level of the body refinement realm. This kind of attack could not even break the black tortoise armor on his body, let alone injure him. Other than Xie Xuanji, Fei Ren could kill everyone in one move. Chapter 54. Bang! Rumble! Countless elemental force attacks smashed onto Fei Ren's body, and in the next moment, they exploded, causing dust to fly up in all directions. This brat is so arrogant. He actually took our attacks head on. This time, he's dead for sure. That's right. Seeing Fei Ren's figure submerged in the Yuan power attacks, the Xie family disciples in the valley shouted out excitedly. Just this level? Are you trying to scratch my itch? Just as the crowd was clamoring, a disdainful voice slowly sounded out. In the next moment, Fei Ren's figure appeared once again. At this moment, he was still standing with his hands behind his back with a playful expression on his face. Even his clothes were stained with dust, and he did not suffer any injuries. How is this possible? What? This brat is actually fine. Seeing that Fei Ren was still unscathed after taking their attacks head-on, the surrounding Xie family disciples were shocked as they cried out in surprise. Under the combined attack of more than 20 people, even an expert at the 8th level of the refinement stage would have to retreat. However, they were still unable to do anything to Fei Ren. As expected, this brat is also at the 8th level of the refinement stage, and his strength is not only that. Not far away, Xie Xuanji's eyes narrowed as a trace of seriousness flashed across his gloomy face. From the beginning, he had sensed that Fei Ren's aura was not ordinary. This was also the reason why he did not directly make a move. Instead, he sent the Xie family disciples to risk their lives in order to probe the opponent's strength. Die! Fei Ren's gaze swept across his surroundings. In the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up. At the same time, his body shot out explosively towards the 6th level body refinement stage Xie clan disciples. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he sent out 100 snake hands. Swish! Swish! Essence energy gushed out like an ocean, instantly condensing into two enormous, mournful snake shadows. Everyone only felt a burst of ear-piercing sound waves, and in the next moment, the two Xia clan disciples were entangled and strangled by the mournful snake shadows, leaving only a pool of blood on the spot. 8th level of the refinement stage. Level 2 Martial Arts. Seeing his comrade die in an instant, Fei Run unleashed his full strength. The surviving Xia family members looked at each other with fear on their faces. An expert at the 8th level of the body refinement realm had a strength that was even stronger than Feng Tianyi and Li Long amongst the people present. Besides the injured Feng Tianyi, only Xie Xuanji was able to contend with Fei Ren. Even if the others were to go up, they would only be sending themselves to be slaughtered by Fei Run. Too late. Yuan Qi surged out from the palm of his left hand. Fei Run casually swung his hand to the side and blasted out dozens of Black Tiger Palm Qi. In an instant, 5 to 6 CF family disciples were blown away. Soon after, all of them died with blood flowing out from their 7 orifices. Although there were more than 20 CF family disciples, most of them were below the 6th level of the body refinement realm. Only 1 or 2 of them were at the 7th level of the body refinement realm. Moreover, Fei Ren's attacks were extremely sneaky as he specialized in killing the CF family disciples with high cultivation. With Fei Ren's current strength that was comparable to a half-step into the middle unity realm, these CF family disciples were naturally not his match. Fei Ren waved his wasp bayonet blade and chopped off a few more heads. He was like a god of death descending to the world. For a moment, the valley was filled with blood. Bastard, stop for this young master. When Xie Xuanji saw Fei Ren's massacre in the crowd, more than half of the Xie family's disciples had fallen. Countless of them had died, and corpses were strewn all over the ground. At this moment, Xie Xuanji could no longer hold himself back. He immediately roared and charged toward Fei Ren. The main character can't hold back anymore. Seeing Xie Xuanji charging towards him in anger, Fei Ren's lips curled up into a mocking smile. Then let's fight. Bang! Xie Xuanji channeled his primary power and punched towards Fei Ren's abdomen. Seeing this, Fei Ren's wrist shook slightly. The wasp bayonet blade turned around and blocked the attack. Primary power swept out from the blade and blocked the attack. In the next moment, the blade shook violently and forced Xie Xuanji to retreat dozens of steps. What a powerful force. This bastard actually has a first-tier spiritual treasure. After being forced back by Fei Run in one move, Xie Xuanji felt a faint pain coming from his palm. Xie Xuanji's expression turned serious. Although his cultivation base was 1 level higher than Fei Ren's, Fei Ren had a Tier 1 spirit treasure in his hand. Moreover, his Yuan power was dense and solid. His overall strength was not inferior to his own. Brother, thank you for your help. May I know your name? Seeing that Fei Ren was not at a disadvantage in the fight with Xie Xuanji, Feng Tianyi, who was secretly healing himself not far away, was shocked. Then, he quickly sent a voice transmission. In Heavenly Water Town, he had never seen a young genius as powerful as Fei Ren. Moreover, he was an unfamiliar face. Fei Ren, just focus on healing yourself. I'll deal with this bastard. Glancing at Feng Tianyi not far away, Fei Ren nodded. Kid, I know what you want. Whatever benefits the Feng family gave you, my CF family will give you double. As long as you leave obediently now, I'll let bygones be bygones for killing the CF family's disciples. Seeing that Fei Ren was determined to mess things up, Xie Xuanji's face darkened. He seemed to want to rope him in again. Really? Hearing this, Fei Ren suddenly retracted his primary power with a strange expression. Of course, I, Xie Xuanji, always do what I say. How about it? Seeing that Fei Ren showed signs of being tempted, Xie Xuanji immediately laughed out loud with a smile on his face. However, a trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. Good. This is my answer. The corner of his mouth revealed a mocking smile. In the next moment, a wisp of primary power gushed out from Fei Ren's palm. The snake shadow in his palm hissed, and then he swung his hand towards a Sief family disciple at the 6th level of the body refinement realm. This Sief family disciple was swallowed by the mournful snake's shadow before he could react. Not even a trace of his corpse was left. Seeing that Fei Ren suddenly attacked and killed another Sief family disciple, Xie Xuanji seemed to have not expected it. His face froze. "Bastard, I'm going to tear you to shreds." Evil Spirit Palm. Realizing that he was being played, the anger in Xie Xuanji's heart that had not been suppressed rose again. In the next moment, he roared out and raised his hand to condense an evil spirit shadow. He directly smashed it towards Fei Ren's head. The evil spirit shadow whizzed across the sky, causing one's heart to palpitate. Quasi-rank 3 martial art. Xie Xuanji's evil spirit shadow was quite powerful. It was even more powerful than Fei Ren's 100 snake hands, which had reached the level of perfection. It had reached the level of a rank 3 martial art, which was why he was so confident. Unfettered blade technique. Focusing his eyes, Fei Ren once again slashed out with a wasp blade in his hand, meeting the evil spirit shadow head-on. In the next moment, the blade and primary power fiercely clashed together, emitting an ear-piercing sound of silver and iron colliding. In the end, it loudly exploded. Rumble, rumble. An extremely powerful primary power storm swept out, engulfing Fei Ren and Xie Xuanji's figures. As for the surrounding Sief family disciples, even Fang Tianyi could not avoid it. They were all affected. Some of the weaker Xie family disciples were even heavily injured by the primary power storm, spitting out blood as they frantically retreated. What a terrifying primary power remnant. Is this Xie Xuanji's true strength? I never thought that Fei Ren would be so powerful, actually forcing Xie Xuanji to use his full strength. Not far away, Fang Tianyi, who had retreated behind a huge rock in a valley, had a complicated expression on his face. At this moment, he finally understood that compared to Fei Ren and Xie Xuanji, his strength was not even worth mentioning. Even Li Long of the Wild Blade sect was the same. Chapter 55. Swoosh. The remaining power of the origin power gradually subsided, and a gray figure escaped from it. The next moment, he slowly landed on the ground with a calm expression. It was Fei Ren. Although this grandson's tone is big, he does have some skills. His tiger body shook. He lowered his head and glanced at the broken black tortoise armor on his body. Fei Ren pondered. Ever since the black tortoise longevity scripture reached the greater success stage, the defensive power of the black tortoise armor that he condensed had increased by another level. However, in this confrontation, it was shattered by Xie Xuanji's evil spirit palm. It was enough to show the power of a quasi-rank 3 martial art. Although the black tortoise armor was shattered and its defensive power was greatly reduced, Fei Ren borrowed the defensive power of the black tortoise armor to resist Xie Xuanji's palm head-on and did not suffer any serious injuries. Moreover, as long as there was sufficient origin power, the black tortoise armor could be continuously condensed, just like the protective origin power of a middle and high-level martial artist. After a martial artist stepped into the middle and high level, other than the Dantian's origin power increasing, they could also condense a unique protective origin power. The protective origin power could be activated at will and could defend against the enemy's attacks and sneak attacks. The defensive power was also related to the martial artist's specific cultivation. This was also the reason why middle and high-level martial artists could crush most body refinement realm martial artists. Even if several 10th-level body refinement realm martial artists joined forces, they would not be a match for a first-level middle and high-level martial artist. This was the difference in strength. Monster. He's actually still alive. Young Master Xie used his full strength and was actually unable to do anything to him. Who exactly is this Fei Ren? After the remaining power dissipated, they saw that Fei Ren was still standing in the middle of the valley. The surrounding Sief family disciples who were covered in blood and heavily injured were completely stunned and shocked. To them, the Fei Ren in front of them was definitely a demon. Not only did he kill without batting an eye, but he was also ruthless and merciless. Almost every time he made a move, he would take away a few lives. Most of the corpses of the Sief family disciples were killed by Fei Ren. There were almost no survivors. Run. Perhaps it was out of fear, or perhaps it was because they were scared out of their wits by Fei Ren, but someone in the crowd shouted. In the next moment, the surviving Sief family members scattered like birds and beasts, hurriedly fleeing out of the valley. They had no time to care about the injured Fong Tianyi and the ashen-faced Xie Xuanji. Originally, the Sief family had a total of over 20 people. After Fei Ren's massacre, there were less than 10 people left. It could be said that they had suffered heavy casualties. Damn it, these cowards. Xie Xuanji's face turned cold when he saw the surviving members of the Sief family flee out of the valley. His eyes widened in anger, but he didn't stop them. Although he was furious, Xie Xuanji was no fool. He knew that the surviving members of the Sief family were no match for Fei Ren. Even if they stayed behind, it would only increase the number of casualties. Moreover, it would cause him to lose focus. Have they fled? These defeated soldiers will be able to fall into the hands of Li Long and the rest. Consider it a favor from me to that brat. Fei Ren's eyes narrowed when he saw the Xie clan members fleeing one after another. He similarly did not move to stop them, because he knew that these people would undoubtedly die. Before he killed his way into the valley, he had already arranged for Li Long, Feng Hui, and a group of Mad Blade sect disciples to lie in ambush outside the valley. Now that the Sief family members were all injured and were defeated, they no longer had the momentum from before. They were simply no match for Li Long and the others. Valley behind a huge rock. These guys actually want to run? How can I let you do as you wish? Seeing that the Sief family members were forced to retreat by Fei Ren, Fong Tianyi, who had recovered from his injuries, was also furious. He leaped forward and chased after them. Previously, he had been surrounded by Xie Xuanji and a group of Sief family members for half a day. Other than him, all the Fong family members had died in battle. Naturally, Fong Tianyi had a stomach full of anger and had nowhere to vent it. Now is the time to beat the dog in the water. Your evil spirit palm is only so. Looking at the ashen-faced Xie Xuanji, Fei Ren's expression was calm. He quietly tightened his grip on the wasp bayonet in his hand, Yuan power surging on the blade. Arrogant brat, this young master will let you see what true strength is. Facing Fei Ren's provocation, Xie Xuanji laughed instead of being angry. In the next moment, he spread his arms outwards like a great rock spreading its wings. Strands of strange black yuan power were released from his dantian. The black yuan power twisted and changed, quickly condensing into a huge spiritual eagle. The spiritual eagle was lifelike, its eyes flashing with a strange, evil aura. Devil Path Cultivation Method. Seeing Xie Xuanji's aura suddenly skyrocketing, Fei Ren's face turned cold and his eyes instantly turned serious. There were thousands of cultivation methods in the world. Although each had its own merits, there was still the difference between the righteous path and the devil path. Unlike the righteous path cultivation methods, the devil path cultivation methods usually had some unavoidable taboos. At the same time, they were stronger. In the Xian Star continent, there were rumors of some martial artists and rogue cultivators who died from qi deviation because they cultivated the devil path cultivation methods. It was precisely because of the taboos and drawbacks of the devil path cultivation methods that most martial artists were wary of them. Unless they had no other choice, they would not choose to cultivate the devil path cultivation methods. After all, once they cultivated the devil path cultivation methods, it was unknown how long they could live in the future. I didn't expect you to cultivate the devil path cultivation method. No wonder your cultivation base improved so quickly that even Fong Tianyi and Li Long didn't notice it. You're a ruthless person. Fei Ren narrowed his eyes. In the next moment, he circulated his yuan power and retreated. At the same time, a layer of black tortoise armor formed on the surface of his skin. He assumed a defensive stance with all his might. Although the devil path cultivation method that Xie Xuanji cultivated was not as good as his black tortoise longevity scripture, its rank was not low. It was an authentic rank 3 cultivation method. Its might was also stronger than ordinary righteous path cultivation methods. It was not to be underestimated. That's right. I'm cultivating a rank 3 cultivation method, the evil spirit method. Although this cultivation method has many drawbacks, it's more than enough to kill you. Bastard, you forced me to do this. Seeing Fei run retreating and falling into a disadvantageous position, Xie Xuanji laughed loudly with a crazed expression. The evil spirit method was something that Xie Xuanji obtained by chance in a nameless cave. It was the relic of a devil path heretic cultivator. Moreover, he had been cultivating it secretly for many days. If he had not met Fei Run, he would not have been forced to use this cultivation method. Compared to Fei Ren's black tortoise longevity scripture, the only drawback of the evil spirit method was that it could not be used frequently. Moreover, it could only be used for an hour. After that, the user would fall into a period of weakness temporarily. If it was used frequently, it would cause the evil qi to backfire on the user and eventually lead to qi deviation. Once the evil spirit method was used, Xie Xuanji's strength was enough to contend against a half-step Middle Union realm expert. Moreover, his yuan power was tainted with the evil qi of the devil path cultivation method, increasing its might by at least 50%. If the evil qi seeped into the body, the violent evil qi would even corrode the meridians of the martial artist body. In the end, the martial artist body would explode and die. This devil path cultivation method that damages the enemy by 1,000 but damages the user by 800. What's the use of temporarily increasing one's strength? Bastard, my black tortoise longevity scripture is not to be trifled with. Let's see how arrogant you can be when the cultivation method backfires on you later. Spitting in his heart, Fei Ren's gaze was fixed on Xie Xuanji. His expression was still cautious. Although Xie Xuanji's strength had greatly increased after using the evil spirit method, Fei Ren did not panic too much. In terms of cultivation method, his black tortoise longevity scripture was not inferior to Xie Xuanji's evil spirit method. However, the black tortoise longevity scripture was powerful in its ability to increase one's cultivation speed, defensive power, and endless healing effects. Compared to the violent and overbearing evil spirit method, which had a powerful attack power but serious sequelae, the black tortoise longevity scripture, a level 5 cultivation method, was simply much stronger. In terms of rank, the two were simply not on the same level. Moreover, Fei Run had the refining Immortal Cauldron, an immortal path treasure that could refine heaven and earth. No matter how powerful Xie Xuanji was, as long as he was devoured by the refining Immortal Cauldron, he could only be melted into a mass of energy essence. Chapter 56. Evil Spirit Palm. With a cold snort, Xie Xuanji did not give Fei Ren any time to react as he flew over and blasted out a huge evil spirit shadow. After using the evil spirit technique, Xie Xuanji's strength had increased by several folds and was comparable to the half-step middle unity stage. This evil spirit palm was naturally much more powerful and could be considered a true rank 3 martial art. Good. Carefree slash. When Fei Ren saw Xie Xuanji's attack coming, he let out a loud roar and waved the wasp bayonet blade in his hand to meet the attack head-on. Similarly, he slashed out dozens of snow-white blade auras. The piercing blade auras sliced through the air, emitting ear-piercing sounds as they instantly entangled the evil spirit phantoms. Bang! The evil spirit shadow and the snow-white blade qi violently collided. Subsequently, they repeatedly swallowed each other and seemed to be equally matched. A moment later, they finally exploded. Rumble! 2 Yuan Li, 1 black and 1 white, instantly swept through the entire valley. For a moment, sand and stones flew everywhere and the entire place was in a mess. Xuanji and Fei Ren's figures were also forced back by the huge impact and landed not far away from the valley. Cough, cough. Forcefully suppressing the sweetness that surged up his throat, Fei Ren held the wasp bayonet horizontally in front of his chest with a solemn expression. Although he had the advantage of his martial art and his total yuan-li suppressed Xuanji, his opponent's evil spirit technique was truly violent and overbearing. Coupled with the power of the quasi-grade 3 martial art, Evil Spirit Palm, it actually forcefully broke through Fei Ren's black tortoise armor. The black tortoise armor that had just formed shattered into nothingness. Ever since Fei Ren had stepped into the advanced stage of the black tortoise longevity scripture, his black tortoise armor was able to withstand an all-out attack from a martial artist below the 10th level of the body refinement stage. However, it was still unable to withstand Xuanji's fierce attack. My yuan has already been consumed by more than half. I can no longer rely on the black tortoise armor to defend against this bastard's attack. I have to find a chance to kill this grandson in one fell swoop. Frequently using the black tortoise armor to protect his body had consumed a lot of yuan-li in Fei Ren's body. Carefree Slash was the trump card of the grade 2 martial art, Carefree Blade technique, and its consumption of yuan-li. Therefore, he could only end the battle quickly, on the other side of the valley. Damn it, why is this bastard like a 1,000-year-old tortoise? He's still not dead. Seeing that Fei Ren was still standing on the same spot, Xuanji's face turned green and red. His eyes flickered, as if he was thinking of his next move. I told you before that you can't kill me. Even if you have the Devil Path cultivation method, you will still die today. Fei Ren sneered as he saw Xuanji's aura gradually declining. It seemed that the backlash of the evil spirit art had arrived early. Fei Ren mocked him with a cold smile. What a sharp tongue. Die for me. Due to the frequent use of the evil spirit art and evil spirit palm, Xuanji's vital energy and blood were unstable. His glabella was faintly black, as if his dantian and meridians had suffered some internal injuries. However, in the face of Fei Ren's provocation, he was unable to remain calm. With a furious roar, he charged towards Fei Ren again. A large amount of black yuan power swept out, causing one's heart to palpitate. Evil Spirit Palm. Xuanji's feet stomped on the ground. In the next moment, he leaped into the air with a crazed expression. He raised his hand and blasted out an evil shadow. A black spirit eagle vaguely appeared in the center of the evil shadow. It seemed to be even more powerful than before. He intended to kill Fei Ren with a single strike. He's going all out. Looks like the backlash of the evil spirit art has arrived ahead of time. Seeing that Xuanji seemed to have descended into madness, Fei Ren took a deep breath. His expression was solemn. Although he had consumed a lot of his yuan power, as long as he could withstand Xuanji's all-out attack, the outcome of this battle would be decided. Carefree Slash. Fei Ren's wasp bayonet slashed out diagonally. Wisps of yuan power surged out at the same time. The huge yuan power merged with the sword chi and finally transformed into a roaring snow-colored wolf. It was lifelike, as if a heavenly wolf had descended. In the next moment, it charged towards Xuanji. An injury for an injury. He and Xuanji had both reached their limits. It was a competition to see who would fall first. Fei Ren possessed the rank 5 cultivation art, Black Tortoise Immortality Scripture. No matter if it was in terms of defense or healing ability, Xuanji was no match for Fei Ren. Even if Xuanji's realm was higher than his, it was useless. On the other hand, Xuanji's yuan power was almost depleted due to the frequent use of Devil Path cultivation art and martial arts. Moreover, he was also suffering from the backlash of the cultivation art. Naturally, it was impossible for him to withstand Fei Ren's all-out attack. Bastard, die. Xuanji's expression changed drastically when he saw that Fei Ren intended to fight him to the death. However, the arrow was already on the bow. There was no way he could stop. He could only circulate all his yuan power and attack Fei Ren's chest again. Bang! Bang! Rumble! The snow-colored wolf violently crashed into Xie Xuanji's body. Xie Xuanji's body trembled. In the next moment, he spat out blood and retreated wildly. His body was like a kite with a broken string. In the end, he fell heavily to the ground. His aura plummeted, as if he was not far from death. Ugh! Xie Xuanji was not the only one who was heavily injured. Fei Ren had also suffered 2 evil spirit palms. At this moment, his aura was weak as he knelt on the ground. His clothes were already tattered, and his body was covered in terrifying wounds and bloodstains. He seemed to have reached his limit, and his strength was less than 10%. Ha ha ha, kid, when the Xie family's reinforcements arrive, it will be the time of your death. You want to fight with me? Cough, cough, cough. After struggling for a while, Xie Xuanji staggered up from the ground. Although his hair was a little disheveled and he no longer had the imposing manner from before, his tone was still arrogant and despotic, as if Fei Ren was a person who was about to die. Reinforcements? I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Hearing this, Fei Ren also smiled slightly. A trace of mockery appeared on his pale and bloodless face. If nothing unexpected happened, during the time he was fighting with Xie Xuanji, Li Long, and Feng, we should have finished off the remaining Xie family disciples. After all, they had completely fallen out with each other, which was equivalent to an irreconcilable enmity. In this hunting meet, not many magical beasts were killed, but many people died. Other than Li Long and a few others from the Mad Blade sect who survived, the rest of the people died in the hands of Xie Xuanji and the others. With such a deep hatred, with Li Long's personality, he would definitely not show mercy. As for the Feng family, it was even worse. Almost all of the younger generation were dead, and only the injured Feng Tianyi was left. Presumably, Feng Tianyi's state of mind was similar to Li Long's. What? Don't tell me you? Seeing Fei Ren's half-smile, Xie Xuanji, who was laughing wildly, was stunned for a moment. He seemed to have suddenly thought of something, and his face immediately changed. Fei Ren. Thinking of the consequences, Xie Xuanji spat out another mouthful of blood in anger. His aura dropped again, and his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Xie Xian is an expert at the 4th level of the Middle Union realm. If I kill this bastard, he will definitely take revenge. Looks like the reward for this hunting meet will be amazing. Secretly channeling the black tortoise longevity scripture, Fei Ren felt a wave of warmth throughout his body, as if he was bathing in a hot spring. Even the injuries on his body had recovered a little, and the bleeding wounds had formed scabs. I'll kill this bastard and run. After making up his mind, a trace of decisiveness and viciousness flashed across Fei Ren's handsome face, and his eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Xie Xuanji. Chapter 57. Outside the nameless valley, it was also a complete mess. There were bloodstains and corpses everywhere, and waves of the stench of the dead drifted in the air, causing one to feel disgusted. Young master, they're all dead. Not a single one was left alive. A wild blade sect disciple with a scar on the corner of his eye hurriedly ran to Li Long and said respectfully, "Good, these bastards. This is retribution." Clapping his hands, Li Long smiled. Previously, he was played by Xie Xuanji, and many wild blade sect disciples had died. Li Long had been suppressing his anger for a long time, and now he could finally vent his anger. As far as the eye could see, the entire mountain valley was filled with the corpses of the Xie clan members. Not a single one of them was left alive. Even the severely injured Xie clan members who were still alive were chopped in a meat paste by the furious Li Long. The remaining Xie clan members who had escaped from the mountain valley earlier were all exterminated. I wonder what's the situation on Brother Fei's side. Beside him, Feng Hui wiped off the bloodstains on the silver broadsword in his hand as he turned his head to look into the valley. At this moment, there was an extremely unusual fluctuation of origin power spiraling in the valley. Xie Xuanji's cultivation base was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm, and Fei Ren's was only at the 8th level of the body refinement realm. Both of them were young geniuses who could fight above their level, so it was hard to say who would win. However, ever since he met Fei Run, in his eyes, Fei Run had never been defeated, and this made Feng Hui feel a little relieved. How's the harvest? Unlike Feng Hui, Li Long was more concerned about the spoils of war from this battle. Young master, we're rich, a young Wild Blade sect disciple put away his weapon and ran over in the next moment. His face was full of joy, as if he had gained a lot. Apart from some miscellaneous items, we found more than 300 low-grade vitality stones on the corpses of the CF family disciples, some martial arts techniques, and a large amount of gold and silver. It's worth at least 10,000 taels. I didn't expect these guys to be so rich. No wonder the CF family is a second-rate force. However, after today, they're going to suffer a great loss. Glancing at the corpses and blood around him, Li Long laughed heartily. Obviously, he was in a good mood. Brotherly, now that we have dealt with the remaining CF family members, it is time for us to go in and help Brother Fei. After looting the spoils of war, Feng Hui stepped forward with his blade in hand and reminded Li Mu. In this great battle, not only did Li Long and the Wild Blade sect reap great rewards, he had also gained many benefits. Furthermore, his origin power cultivation base that he had broken through not long ago had been completely consolidated, and it had vaguely risen by quite a bit. He was not far from the 6th level of the body refinement stage. Although he was confident in Fei Ren's strength, things could change if he delayed. In order to avoid any more trouble, Feng Hui decided to rush to Fei Ren's aid and take down Xie Xuanji in one fell swoop. Now, that Xie Xuanji was the only one left in the CF family. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't challenge everyone present. After all, Li Long, the young master of the Mad Blade sect, wasn't someone to be trifled with either. He was strong enough to restrain Xie Xuanji and make it difficult for him to take care of both sides. That's right. If it wasn't for Brother Fei Ren's help, we wouldn't have been able to take revenge. Brothers, let's go in and meet that bastard Xie Xuanji. Hearing this, Li Long nodded his head heavily. In the next moment, he once again tightened his grip on the large blade in his hand. At the same time, he flew towards the interior of the valley. Seeing this scene, Feng Hui and the remaining Wild Blade sect disciples also followed closely behind in an aggressive manner. Even if he didn't have a little friendship with Fei Run, this was the perfect opportunity to beat a drowning dog. Li Long wouldn't let Xie Xuanji off so easily and would definitely ruthlessly trample on him. At this moment, Fei Ren was still confronting Xie Xuanji in the valley. Although both sides were injured compared to before, Fei Run had a slight advantage. Because the Black Tortoise Immortality Scripture was a rank 5 cultivation method, Fei Ren's injuries and origin power recovery speed were much faster than Xie Xuanji's. On the other hand, due to the backlash from the evil spirit method, Xie Xuanji's origin power recovery speed was not only slow, but there were also faint signs of his injuries worsening. He was already in a precarious situation. Cough, cough. Grandson, the backlash from the evil path cultivation method isn't pleasant, right? While his origin power and injuries were slowly recovering, Fei Ren once again launched a psychological attack. He raised his eyes to look at Xie Xuanji, who was not far away, and mocked him. This bastard. Now that I'm covered in injuries and my origin power is almost gone, the after effects of the evil spirit method have yet to dissipate. I can't continue to fight with him. I have to think of a way to escape. Faced with Fei Ren's provocation, Xie Xuanji's face turned ashen. He clenched his fists tightly, as if he was filled with anger but had nowhere to vent it. Fei Ren, just you wait. Forcing himself to stand up, Xie Xuanji left behind a ruthless sentence and turned around to leave the valley in the next moment. Due to the exhaustion of origin power in his body and the injuries all over his body, Xie Xuanji's speed had become extremely slow. He could only stumble and run step by step, looking extremely miserable. Trying to run? Seeing Xie Xuanji turn around and run, Fei Ren's expression changed slightly. The next moment, he leaped up and chased after him. Naturally, Fei Rin knew the consequences of letting a tiger return to the mountains. The Xie family was a second-rate force, and the current head of the Xie family, Xie Xian, was an expert at the 4th level of the Middle Union realm. Currently, both sides had formed a death grudge. If he let Xie Xuanji escape, he would definitely be hunted down by the Xie family. Black Tiger Palm. Seeing that Xie Xuanji was about to run to the valley's entrance, Fei Rin's expression turned anxious. He raised his hand and circulated his origin power to blast out a black tiger palm chi. At the same time, the origin power that he had just recovered was instantly depleted. Swoosh! Bang! The black tiger palm chi pierced through the air and landed heavily on Xie Xuanji's back. Xie Xuanji's body turned sluggish. The next moment, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell heavily to the ground. I won't die. Seeing that Xie Xuanji had fallen, Fei Rin did not even have the time to rejoice when he saw Xie Xuanji stubbornly crawl up from the ground with a crazed expression. That bastard! His expression changed slightly. Fei Rin also limped and chased after Xie Xuanji. Now that his injuries had not healed, and the origin power that he had painstakingly recovered was also depleted, he could only force his injured body to chase after Xie Xuanji. Just as Xie Xuanji ran out of the valley's entrance, a blade light came from the sky and ruthlessly slashed at his body. Xie Xuanji screamed in pain and fell to the ground. His entire left arm was cut off and blood splattered everywhere. Is it Li Long and the others? Seeing that Xie Xuanji had fallen to the ground again, Fei Rin let out a soft exclamation and instantly understood. Brother Fei, we're here to help you. Outside the valley, there was a commotion. The next moment, Li Long, Feng Hui, and a group of Mad Blade sect's disciples aggressively charged in. It's you, Li Long. When he saw who it was, Xie Xuanji, who was lying on the ground, stared with his eyes wide open. He gritted his teeth as if they were about to shatter. His face was full of anger, and he could not care less about the intense pain coming from his left arm and the bleeding wound. Because of Fei Rin's interference, not only did Feng Tianyi escape, but he was also heavily injured. Now that he encountered Li Long, he was naturally doomed. Thinking of this, Xie Xuanji could not help but feel a sense of despair. Xie Xuanji, I didn't expect you to have such a day. Raising his foot and ruthlessly stepping on Xie Xuanji's face, Li Long's expression was fierce, as if he was facing the enemy who killed his father. Chapter 58. Li Long, do you only know how to take advantage of others? Do you dare to have a fair fight with me? Xie Xuanji's mouth was filled with blood and broken teeth. His face was ferocious as he looked at Li Long with anger. Xie Xuanji was very clear that he was severely injured and had less than 1/10 of his strength left. Not to mention Li Long in front of him. Any of the Mad Blade sect disciples present could easily defeat him. Xie Xuanji knew this very well in his heart, so he could only show off. Fight? Just based on your current sorry state. What do you have to fight with me? Glancing at Xie Xuanji, who was lying on the ground, Li Long put away his blade and said with disdain, now that Xie Xuanji was a fish on the chopping board, there was no way he could escape. If it wasn't for the Xie family's reputation in Tianshui town, Li Long could easily kill him. This guy almost got away. Fei Rin staggered toward Li Long and the others with a serious face. Brother Fei, you're injured? Seeing that Fei Rin was covered in blood and his aura was weak, Feng Hui, who was beside him, quickly rushed over with a frown. After all, if it wasn't for Fei Rin's help, the Feng family and even the Mad Blade sect would have been wiped out. Even if Feng Tianyi and Li Long worked together, they might not be Xie Xuanji's match. Just a small injury, no harm. Fei Rin waved his hand to indicate that he was fine. Then, he looked at Xie Xuanji, who was lying on the ground with a ferocious expression. Bastard, there are many people who want to kill me. You're not qualified. Bastard, you ants. The Xie family won't let you go so easily. Feng family, Mad Blade sect, just you wait. As soon as he finished speaking, Xie Xuanji spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he was still shouting, he couldn't move at all. It seemed like many of his ribs and sternum were broken. Brother Fei, this is a second-grade pill, recovery pill. Although it can't heal your injuries, it can quickly restore your origin power. Ignoring Xie Xuanji's clamor, Li Long took out a green pill from his ring and handed it to Fei Run. The green pill was shaped like a round pearl. At this moment, it was emitting a faint pill fragrance that penetrated into one's heart. It seemed to be of high quality. Thank you. After receiving the pill, Fei Run also raised his head and swallowed it. As the pill slid down his throat, wisps of medicinal effects spread throughout his body. Finally, they spread to all the meridians in his body. What a powerful medicine. My origin power has recovered by 30% in an instant. Fei Ren was slightly surprised as he felt the origin power in his body recovering once again. Of course, this Yuan recovery pill was specially given to me by the sect master. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to use it. Scratching his head, Li Long forced a smile and spoke in an awkward tone. A few minutes later, under the dual recovery of the Black Tortoise Immortality Scripture and the recovery pill, Fei Ren's injuries and Yuan power had almost completely recovered. Even his cultivation base, which had just broken through to the 8th level of the body refinement stage, had improved by quite a bit. Brother Fei, how do you plan to deal with this guy? Seeing that Fei Ren's injuries had completely recovered, Feng Hui asked in a deep voice. At the same time, he looked at Xie Xuanji, who was on the verge of death, and hesitated to speak. Kill him. With a calm expression, Fei Run raised his hand and summoned the wasp bayonet that was stabbed into the ground beside him into his palm. Fei Ren, you dare to kill me? Seeing Fei Ren's ferocious gaze, the heavily injured Xie Xuanji's eyes widened in disbelief. At the same time, he shouted, Brat, do you know who I am? If you dare to kill me, the Xie family will not let you go. There will be no place for you in the entire Tianshui town. I don't care who you are. Die. With a cold smile, Fei Ren immediately circulated his origin power and slashed the wasp bayonet at Xie Xuanji's head. No. Seeing that Fei Ren really dared to kill him, Xie Xuanji's expression finally changed. His eyes were filled with terror and fear. Puffed. With a swing of the wasp bayonet, Xie Xuanji's head fell to the ground. He was dead before he could even scream. What a ruthless guy. This Fei Ren is really not simple. It was a wise choice to befriend him. Seeing that Fei Ren had decisively killed the barely breathing Xie Xuanji on the ground, Li Long's eyelids twitched as he sighed in his heart. Now that Xie Xuanji is dead, none of the Xie family's disciples survived. It's a great loss. After this hunting meet, the Xie family will probably declare war on the Mad Blade sect and the Fong family. Looking at Xie Xuanji's corpse on the ground, Feng Hui suddenly spoke in a grave tone. Although he was only a young master of concubine, he was still part of the Fong family. If the Fong family was destroyed, he would not have a good ending. He would definitely be punished by the Xie family. Let's fight then. Are we afraid of the Xie family? Hearing this, Li Long snorted. As far as I know, clan leader Fang Sheng is also a middle unity stage 4 expert. If the Mad Blade sect and the Fong family work together, their strength would not be weaker than the Xie family. In this hunting meet, Xie Xuanji attacked first. We just killed him. I think that old man Xie Xian has nowhere to vent his anger. Brother Li is right. You can work together to deal with the Fong family, but I can't. After this battle, I will leave Tianshui town and return to the sect. At the side, Fei Run rubbed his nose. Brother Fei, you're leaving? But the ranking reward hasn't been. Hearing this, Li Long and Feng Hui were stunned. You can take it, but you can't spend it. You have your family behind you. I'm just a rogue cultivator. It's easy for the Xie family to take revenge on me. Shaking his head, Fei Run said slowly as if he already had a plan in mind. Now that the Xie family disciples were all dead, even if Li Long and Feng Hui divided the spoils, they would still get at least 300 points. In addition to the points they got from killing the magical beasts a few days ago, they could easily enter the top 3. Even though he couldn't obtain the hunting meet's ranking reward, Fei Ren didn't suffer too much from this trip. He obtained a low-level yellow rank magical beast magic core, a 9 suns flower, and the items left behind by Xie Xuanji, Song Yun, and the others. Brother Fei, we'll meet again. Take care. Seeing that Fei Run had made up his mind, Li Long did not try to persuade him. He immediately cupped his hands and led the remaining Mad Blade sect disciples out of the valley. Brother Fei, I'll also take my leave. Once I'm done with the family matters, I'll immediately return to the sect. Seeing that Li Long was leaving with his team, Feng Hui also took a deep breath and cupped his hands before turning to leave. After Li Long and Feng Hui left, Fei Rin turned his gaze to Xie Xuanji's corpse on the ground. Divine Cauldron, appear. With a wave of his hand, the simple and exquisite divine refining cauldron appeared in Fei Rin's palm. The divine refining cauldron could refine anything. Xie Xuanji's cultivation was at the 9th level of the body refinement realm when he was alive. Naturally, Fei Rin would not let go of his corpse. Refine. With a thought, Fei Rin controlled the divine refining cauldron to cover Xie Xuanji's corpse. A golden light flashed, and Xie Xuanji's corpse was swallowed by the divine refining cauldron. In the end, it turned into pure energy of heaven and earth and was fed back into Fei Rin's dantian. So satisfying. Seems like killing people is the shortcut to increasing cultivation. As the strands of heaven and earth energy entered his body, Fei Rin felt his entire body brimming with power. It was as if he was in a boiling furnace, warm and comfortable. At the same time, there was also a slight tingling pain. It was extremely satisfying. 9th level of the body refinement realm. After absorbing the last strand of pure energy, Fei Rin heavily exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His eyes were filled with joy. After refining Xie Xuanji's corpse, his cultivation had broken through again and successfully reached the 9th level of the body refinement realm. Chapter 59. I wonder what treasures are in this guy's spirit ring. After refining Xie Xuanji's body, Fei Rin picked up the spirit ring he left behind. Xie Xuanji was the young master of the Xie family, so his wealth was bound to be considerable. Using his origin energy, he found that there were not many things in the spiritual ring, but each and every one of them was valuable. There were more than 200 inferior grade origin stones, a few common martial arts techniques, and a weirdly shaped purple herb. It's really a big deal. Withdrawing his essence power, Fei Rin's face was filled with joy. Now that Xie Xuanji had already died, the treasures left behind in this spirit ring had naturally all fallen into his pocket. With these inferior grade origin stones and the assistance of the grade 3/9 Suns flower, Fei Rin was confident that he would be able to break through again within a week and step into the 10th level of the body refinement stage. I seem to have seen this herb somewhere before. Putting away the items in the spirit ring, Fei Rin's gaze was attracted by the weirdly shaped purple herb. His face was filled with suspicion. Although Fei Rin's cultivation was progressing rapidly, his experience was not top-notch. Some of the rare treasures that Fei Rin had only heard of, but had never seen. Could it be? Suddenly remembering something, Fei Rin reached out and grabbed the purple herb. The next moment, he brought it to his nose and sniffed it. Sure enough, it's really the underworld 100 poison grass. Frowning slightly, Fei Rin's face was filled with surprise, as if he had found a treasure. In a world of martial artists, the value of medicinal herbs was no less than essence stones. No matter if it was an alchemist or an ordinary martial artist, they could not refuse some high-grade medicinal herbs. After all, a rare medicinal herb could be exchanged for a large amount of cultivation resources, and the purple herb in Fei Rin's hand was one such herb. This purple herb was a rare rank 3 medicinal herb, the underworld 100 poison grass. This medicinal herb only grew in cliffs and precipitous cliffs, and, as its name suggested, its roots contained an extremely potent poison. Even a middle and high-level martial artist could not directly consume it, or else the poison would enter the body and cause sudden death. Although the dark nether 100 poisons grass could not be eaten raw, It was a rare alchemy material. Moreover, it was the main ingredient of the dark nether yellow pill. The Inhale Earth pill was a third-grade medicinal pill. Although its medicinal properties were extremely cold, it could cleanse a martial artist's muscles and marrow after swallowing it, removing all the hidden injuries in the body. It was even more effective for some martial artists with special physiques. It was one of the best third-grade medicinal pills. I found a treasure. Looking at the Underworld 100 Poisons grass in his hand, Fei-Rin couldn't help but have this thought. Although the Underworld 100 Poisons grass was highly toxic, it was not worth mentioning to Fei-Rin, who had the Immortal Refining Cauldron. As long as he had the Immortal Refining Cauldron, the poison of the Underworld 100 Poisons grass could be easily refined. Even if he swallowed it directly, it would not hurt his body. With the Underworld 100 Poisons grass and the 9 Suns flower, this young master's cultivation will not only break through to the 10th level of the body refinement realm, but even the half-step middle unity realm is not impossible. With a long laugh, Fei-Rin's face was filled with joy. Originally, he thought that killing Xie Xuanji would be a big problem, but he didn't expect to gain so much. By the time Fei-Rin stabilized his cultivation, even if the Xie family came to seek revenge, it would be useless. He would have long returned to Wuan Town or even flown far away. This guy cultivated the Devil Path cultivation method, which is extremely harmful to his body. Moreover, the Underworld 100 Poisons grass was highly toxic. He wanted to use poison to fight poison and increase the power of his evil spirit method. What a good plan, but unfortunately, he didn't have the life to do so. After retrieving the Underworld 100 Poisons grass, Fei-Rin glanced at Xie Xuanji's corpse, which had turned into a pool of blood, and smiled. The refining Immortal Cauldron was the one and only immortal Dao treasure in this world. Basically, anything that was refined by the refining Immortal Cauldron would not be able to come out alive. However, Fei-Rin's current strength was still too weak, so he had only revealed the tip of the iceberg of the refining Immortal Cauldron's power. The Xian Star continent was vast and boundless, spanning for hundreds of millions of miles. There were countless super sects, huge imperial dynasties, and giants from all over the place. Even the Dachu dynasty, where Fei-Rin lived, was only a small dynasty in the southeastern corner of the continent. It was not worth mentioning. In the martial arts world, the body refinement realm, the middle unity realm, and the high star realm were also known as the 3 mortal realms. Within the Dachu dynasty, as long as one reached the middle unity realm, one would be considered an expert. If one successfully broke through to the high star realm, they would be able to dominate a region. However, in the entire Xian Star continent, the high star realm was only a small existence. Above the 3 mortal realms, there were the martial master, martial spirit, and martial king realms, which were also known as the 3 mortal realms. In comparison, before the martial master realm, one would only be considered a foundation. Only by entering the martial master realm would one be considered a true martial artist. The strength of a martial master realm expert was far beyond that of a high star realm expert. Moreover, if one wanted to leave the Dacha dynasty and head to the continent or even more powerful regions, they would have to at least enter the 3 mortal realms and become a martial master realm expert. Otherwise, even if they were to leave the Dacha dynasty, they would still have a slim chance of survival. This young master still has a long way to go on the martial path. Thinking about this, Fei-Rin couldn't help but secretly clench his fists. Right now, he was only a mere 9th level body refinement realm martial artist. He was still far from the high star realm, let alone the martial master realm. It's better to leave this place and lie low for a while. Sweeping away the thoughts in his mind, Fei-Rin flew out of the valley in the next moment. Although the great hunting meet had not ended, he had already achieved his goal. There was no need for him to continue staying here. Originally, he followed Fong Lai back to Tianshui town to fish for some benefits. Now that he had completely offended the Xie family, in order to report back to them for revenge, Fei-Rin naturally had to escape. The Xie family's current head, Xie Xian, was an expert of the Middle Unity realm. His strength was very strong. Currently, Fei Ren was not his opponent, so he would not be stupid enough to face him head-on. Instead, he quietly escaped and returned to Wuhan town. Come, if you force this young master into a corner, your CF family will not have an easy time either. In the Hengduan mountain range, a figure shuttled through the endless dense forest. Fei Ren's face was solemn, as if he was calculating something. Now, he had already made a plan. If the CF family insisted on chasing him, his identity as the Iron Palm School's inner disciple would come in handy. After all, the Iron Palm School's head, Guo Huai, and the plain-robed elder, Li Feng, were both experts of the Middle Unity realm. They would definitely not let the other party run wild. 3 days later, Fei Ren finally left the Hengduan mountain range and rushed back to Wuhan town. Although he was prepared for the worst, the CF family unexpectedly did not send anyone to chase after him. Instead, they took the initiative to fight with the Fong family and the Wild Blade School. Fei Ren, who rushed back to Wuhan town, also received the news from Fong Hui's pigeon. So it was the Wild Blade School and the Fong family that attracted the firepower for me. Opening the letter on the pigeon, Fei Ren's face was thoughtful. His brows that had been tightly knitted for the past few days also relaxed. The content of the letter was very simple. It was nothing more than the CF family's thunderous rage after knowing that the CF family's disciples were all wiped out. Under the leadership of Xian, the CF family declared war on the Fong family and the Wild Blade School. Then, the Fong family and the Wild Blade School joined forces under the leadership of Fong Sheng and Li Guangdao to fight the CF family. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.